Welcome back to Han Took Shots First. I'm Derrick.
I'm Jack.
To the Republic.
To democracy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now I took shots second.
We're gonna open up a bottle of spotchka, roll up a nice little tight death stick, and we're gonna crack open a holocron and get to some tasty information.
Give me some of those death sticks, man.
Oh yeah. I mean, death sticks have to be a cross between cigarettes and like drugs, like drugs.
I think it was just supposed to be cigarettes, basically, when they referred to it in one of those movies. It was one of the early ones, right?
Episode 2.
Was it episode 2? So it wasn't in the original at all?
Not that I'm aware of, and like I think it could be a blink and you blink with your ears and you miss it.
I may have mentioned this when we recorded another episode. I think I did, but I saw a joke thing come out right before the Obi-Wan series, where it was like a summary of the series, and it's talking about Obi-Wan like trying to get these death sticks and do all this stuff with his friends, and it was just the plot of Train Spotting, but with death sticks instead of heroin.
He saw a youngling when he was overdosing, little youngling crawling across the bathroom,
little fucking Grogu ceiling. On the ceiling.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Well, welcome back, everybody. This time we are doing Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
Instead of Revenge of the Jedi.
Yeah, because Jedi don't get revenge.
Sith fucking do.
Well, Jedi can get revenge, but then he's a Sith.
Yeah,
right?
That's what happens.
But only Sith deal in absolutes.
And that's an absolute.
All right.
So you're a Sith. Gotta kill you.
So our last couple episodes, we talked a lot. We're trying to talk less this time.
We're going to try and go less beat by beat and just go with things that are interesting to us or, you know, make us happy or make us frown.
For every 5 minutes we go over 2 hours, you guys take a shot and see what happens.
Oh, no. So we open up right away with a big, the crawl obviously tells some things. It's like, I think I even brought it up. It's confusing. There's heroes on both sides.
Yeah.
Who's the hero on the CIS?
I think what it's saying is like with heroes on both sides, I mean, heroes for said army. So
okay.
You have like Dooku or like some of their
Grievous.
Well, they don't have soldiers really, right? They just have robots.
Yeah.
So it would be like Dooku or Grievous, I guess, is it.
It would have to be.
But there would be heroes to their side, at least.
For sure.
Because, you know, there's no good or bad in war.
It's all from a point of view.
Unless it's World War II.
Yeah, then there's bad.
Or, you know, most wars, I guess, there's always a bad side. But we say there's no good or bad. From a certain point of view, Mr. Kenobi. I forgot his name for a second there.
That's all right.
I was about to say Mr. McGregor.
Well, I would accept that answer. He is putting on his best Alec Guinness now.
I did read a little bit. Like I read up on some trivia, but you're the trivia master, so I left most of it to you. But I read up on some trivia, and one thing was that he had them put together like a 4-hour reel or something, which I don't know how they got that much footage. I guess it's of his other stuff too, not just Star Wars. Of Alec Guinness.
Or takes.
Maybe, yeah.
And
it was just him studying
take.
Alec Guinness's cadence and delivery, so he could try to sound as much like him.
It pays off here, and when we get to the Obi-Wan series, it pays off immensely.
Yeah.
Like he does that same chin scratch that you people listening can't see, so I'm not going to do it. But like his mannerisms are so much tighter.
Yeah.
But they're getting better here. He dropped the mullet. He looks less like Jesus.
Yeah. No more Jesus.
Which I kind of miss.
I mean, Jesus, I like my Jesus to have short hair.
I don't know, man. I kind of picture my Jesus like a Sith Lord because like I'm a Sith Lord and I want to kill younglings and I hope that my Jesus kills younglings.
But right out of the gate, and I commented to you, because this time we watched the movie together, which we haven't done before for this.
For Star Wars.
But John Williams is bringing this right out of the gate.
Sometimes it's there's like nothing really happening. Like much later in the movie, Grievous is just walking, and it's just it's like this is a little too much. John, John can't calm.
Yeah.
But yeah, he is bringing it with this intro battle, heavy fucking drums.
And it's a good intro. So the CG in this movie is worlds ahead of episode 1.
Yes.
And even more episode 2.
Yes.
I don't know how much time was between. I didn't write down the year for this one. This was 2005?
I believe it's because it's been 3 years in story, and I believe it's 3 years in life as well.
So you're telling me 7 seasons of Clone Wars happens in 3 years?
Yeah.
That's a busy 3 years, man.
Yeah. Which remind me when we get to Order 66 to bring up the Clone Wars, because that's some retconning that makes me kind of, I don't know, enjoy some of the story more.
Oh, more. Okay.
Yes.
I thought you were going to say they fucked it up. I was like, that's what
They
retconning does.
kind of did, but no. Like, Dave Filoni is smart, man. He knows how to. All right, so here's how I'll say it. George Lucas, let me start over. Star Wars is a fire. George Lucas started it, but all these other people are the ones throwing in twigs and kindling and sticks.
So Filoni's the one doing the song. We didn't start the fire.
Lucas started the fire. But you know what I mean? Like, the fire is still burning, and, you know, maybe George sparked it,
And
but
the
the
world
rest
keeps
is
turning.
The rest has been fueled by these awesome fucking people.
Yeah, and I guess because he has, we talked about it in the past, so we won't go too much into it. George Lucas, not a great director, not a great dialogue writer.
The worst dialogue writer.
No, not the worst. I've got some things to show you, but he's bad.
Okay.
You'll watch it. It's a movie called Champagne and Bullets. You'll see. But
You'll see.
That's for our other show, Bad Movies, Worst People, not for this. But he had great ideas, but he also, like, he had great ideas, and then he tries to flesh out his great ideas, and they become bad ideas.
He needs to let the people that he let do the expanded universe are the people that should be fleshing it out, because they're the nerds that have thought about it. They're the nerds like myself that we try and make things work.
Yeah.
You know, when he has gaps, I'm like, okay, how can I fill this? And he's not good at that. We are.
It's like that's the whole EU, right? I mean, the extended universe. That's expanded. Because, like, it was all just people, the legends, right?
Yep.
But it was all just people writing stories about something they liked that they only got 3 movies of, if we don't count the
I wanted to write about this
special.
I wanted to write about this one ship really bad, so I did. I created a whole story about this ship or this planet or this commander.
Well, I mean, you've talked about that on the past, too, about, like, oh, that guy, that's this character. He does this and this and this and this. Like, well, that George Lucas was just like, I don't know, it's a guy in a hat.
Yeah, he probably didn't even name him, like Kenner, the toy company, did, and somebody's like, cool, I'm going to write that. But, you know, that's fine. That's George Lucas's spark.
Yeah, and I mean, at that era, people, one of the things I think is funny is people hold a lot of that stuff to a very high standard. They're like, this is gospel. George Lucas approved all these things. I'm like, no, you sent George Lucas a manuscript, and he just went, I got a check?
Yeah,
motherfucker,
sign me up.
That's why when it got further on and people were writing less, he was just like, Disney will give me $4 billion. Fuck it.
Yeah, absolutely. Disney just posted that they've made $12 billion in revenue since they bought Star Wars, like off of just Star Wars. So paid off. Maybe not the huge success fanfare they wanted, but money-wise, they doing okay.
Yeah, they're not making it from the movies per se. I mean, the movies are all still doing really well, even though everybody
the
complains,
merchandise has always been your cash cow anyway.
Exactly.
So, but now you have people that are going in and getting Bad Batch toys, but we're way off.
Yeah, it's fine.
So, but I love this opening battle because I love General Grievous.
Yeah.
I love this character design. I like his backstory a lot that you don't get here. Now we're talking about Expanded Universe and Clone Wars.
I was surprised at how little, because I haven't really watched Clone Wars. I saw like the first season and a half. But like I was surprised how little he was in this. I didn't remember.
Most everything he was doing was going to be Dooku doing it. And then they realized they needed, I can't remember exactly what it was George wanted to split. I think he needed Dooku to die. And so that's why this was all going to be Dooku at one point.
Okay.
And he had abandoned plot lines where Dooku lived longer, yada, yada.
Well, I mean, Christopher Lee showed up for an afternoon for this movie.
Oh, he was here for a cup of tea.
I think he had 4 lines.
Well. And one of them was a look to fucking Palpatine without saying anything.
Palpatine, kill that motherfucker. Excuse the fuck out of me. But I do like the way this starts with, you had the name for it, Vestron.
Venator, the Venator class.
Vestron is a video company from the 80s.
I thought it was like a robot you wear as a vest, dude. Vestron, assemble. Find me an ascot.
No, it's a video company that did movies like The Dentist and The Dentist 2.
Oh yeah, all those
with Corbin Burnson. But you know the Venator class almost Star Destroyer, but not yet.
Yep.
But it's like, it's just the ship. It's in what looks like empty space. There's these two little guys flying around it.
Yeah.
But when they dive over the edge, it's just full on space battle, and it's fucking awesome.
And as we've probably talked about it before, but the CG looks better when there's no life in it.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing to contrast to. And so all of a sudden you have this big, wide, grand scale shot of a huge battle right over Coruscant.
Yeah, all
which
these
would be terrifying.
Like,
that would be
battleships and little guys and just lasers flying everywhere. And like,
I mean, think about this is the capital of the galaxy. Like this is like equivalent of, I don't know, taking over the White House with Aaron Eckhart being the president. This is White House down.
I was about to say it's January 6th, but
this is the January 6th of Star Wars.
I was gonna say it's less racist, but I don't know.
I don't know. The Emperor's pretty fucking racist, dude. Thrawn is the only non-human that he ever promoted.
Huh.
He's a huge xenophobe. What it comes down to is that Lucas didn't have the money to have a bunch of aliens in suits, make like a costume and in Imperial suits. But then, like we just said, somebody wrote it was like, actually, the Emperor's kind of a fucking xenophobe.
Okay, yeah.
And that makes perfect sense that he would be.
Yeah. And I guess from what I know of Thrawn, it was just, he basically is like, but that guy's real fucking smart.
Yeah, he's that good. And in the books, which are now legend, and I'll say now if I haven't before, I often forget what's legend and what's canon, so forgive me if I misspeak on what is canon. But Thrawn was Grand Admiral, but he had to be out in the outer rims. Like, don't let your white folks see these guys.
Okay.
Don't let your white friends see your blue guy, is what it came down to.
I'm not racist. I have blue friends.
I have a blue friend.
But yeah, so the ships dive into the battle. There's some cool stuff. I mean, there's some bad stuff, but like some of the ships get blown up with the clones in them, and you just see bodies floating in space,
Absolutely.
which is great.
At one point, there's a kitchen sink floating.
Yeah.
Because they were like, we put in everything and the kitchen sink.
Yeah.
Like, fun little blink and you miss it kind of.
Yeah, I think I read about that because the kitchen sink flies over and hits one of the big ships or something. And I'm not going to harp on CG this or that because it is a different era of CG.
And some of this looks better than
it.
shit's coming out now.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, all the stuff that's just CG is great, but like even when Anakin and Obi-Wan are in their ships, it looks fine.
Mm-hmm.
But then you cut to Tamora Morrison in the ship together.
Tam and Tam.
And I'm like, why does that look dumb? And then later I realized it's because even when he's in full body armor and he's talking to people with his helmet off, it's a CG body with a real head.
Yep.
Just have a guy in a suit.
It looks not as bad as MODOK, but it's that same like stretched face. Oh, it doesn't look good.
Yeah, I mean,
like you could have gotten this guy. He's already here. You have him.
The budget here is like $113 million.
Mm-hmm.
You can afford one suit.
I
just have him wear it in the scenes with his helmet off.
I think it comes down to George Lucas's being inept at dealing with people.
Well, I mean, he was trying out like he had like new, or ILM had new like pre-visualization techniques that they were using during this to like, which we see now when you watch behind the scenes of anything CG where they can kind of watch it, but it's not good yet,
Yeah.
That was all new at the time. So, I mean, yeah, I guess he's like, well, it looks fine here. We'll just polish it up.
Fix it in post.
Polish that turd, baby.
And he never stopped polishing.
The reason I know about that is I was reading, like, I guess he invited Spielberg to the set or to the production because Spielberg was about to use this ILM technology making War of the Worlds.
Okay.
And so he wanted to see it in action and try it out. But then while he was there, he was helping Lucas punch some stuff up.
Yeah.
And we'll get there, but there's a specific segment that he helped punch up, and you can tell.
It shows. There
is a really funny bit. Obi-Wan has R4 in his ship, and they're going through, and something happens, there's an explosion, or they hit something, and he's trying to dodge, and you just hear R4 go, oh no!
Oh no! Yeah. It's Mr. Bill.
Exactly what I thought of. And it's followed by, oh dear.
We see a little bit of Anakin. Like, he doesn't do the best job at relaying it, but you see Anakin, like the clones are getting shot up, and he's like, I got to go back there and save him. And Obi-Wan, being the dogmatic Jedi, he's like, no, they're doing their job. Let us do ours.
Yeah.
And it's just showing Anakin, like, I don't like people dying. And this is...
He's too attached.
He's not Jedi way.
Yeah, exactly. He's too attached to everything.
Yeah.
And like, we've talked about it before, we don't necessarily agree with the whole Jedi can't like anybody or anything ever.
Yoda's the only one who really kind of put it out later coming up. He says, he's like, you just got to be prepared for people, like celebrate people turning into the Force.
Yeah.
He's not saying turn yourself off from love, which is what a lot of Jedi do. he's like saying just appreciate people while they're here, and then
And I didn't read the
Circle of
article,
life.
but I was looking for something pertaining to Yoda later in this movie, and an article popped up that was talking about how Yoda was almost turned to the dark side at some point. I'm sure it's a comic book or something.
Yeah, never read it. I just didn't want to sully my Yoda.
But like I could
thoughts.
see it being like he's like, look, I've been there.
Yeah, trust me, dude. I've been there. He'd be terrifying.
And
as a
again,
Sith.
Lucas didn't know obviously that's later, but
Uh-huh.
He would be terrifying, and that's kind of like the headline was like, it would be devastating to the galaxy.
Absolutely.
Like we would have a very different Star Wars trilogy.
I mean,
Yoda
he's got
was
a
evil.
900-year lifespan naturally.
Yeah.
What about all the Sith alchemy and shit like that, dude?
Fucking Noah over there. I'm going to have Jack kind of cover the story points here.
Okay.
So
we get the space battle. They know the Chancellor is on this ship because this is the part that I'm annoyed with. I want to see this, not be told this. Grievous either sends a strike team or is on a strike team that goes down to Coruscant, kidnaps the fucking Emperor, at this point, Chancellor, kidnaps the Chancellor, brings him back up to his ship, the Maleficent or something like that. It's a big M word, but anyway, and then tries to fucking leave and, has a firefight ensues. I want to see him fuck shit up on Coruscant.
see the Black Ops mission.
Yeah, I
right?
want to see the wet work team going with
Exactly.
Grievous. We
Fucking-
have to sneak up on them.
Battle droids coming out of the water wearing black makeup and
That'd be
shit.
so dope. Dude. Little seaweed attached to their head. But yeah, so now,
Tom Berenger is a battle droid.
oh man, I can't wait to hear him say the F word. It's my favorite. So yeah, they know that he's on this ship, and they enter said ship now.
Yeah, and they make their way up to, after some shenanigans, there's a little thing with the elevator, but I like the after part better.
The only part that I don't like right here, not the only, the biggest thing is I hate when they make R2-D2 just overpowered and stuff. I'm fine with him having jets because that's probably what George Lucas wanted but couldn't do. I hate that he's able to beat up these two destroyer, like these are hardened battle droids, not B1.
And the way he gets them is funny, but it's like, there's comedy, a lot of comedy in this segment.
Yes.
Of mostly R2.
Some of it works.
And some
very
of it works,
well.
and this kind of works, but also these are supposed to be, if these were like the Roger droids,
the B1s.
it'd be different.
Yes.
But with this, it's supposed to be like the super droids,
Yeah.
like the super battle droids.
These are like the third step up from here.
Yeah, because he basically just pisses oil all over one
and
of their
lights that
faces
shit on
and
fire.
lights them on fire.
He does the cool guy no look walk away.
Yeah.
So that's the only problem I have with this scene is that because there's, Obi-Wan wants the elevator to go up. R2 can't get it. Anakin's being impatient. He cuts a hole, goes off on his own, and ends up right back in the elevator.
Yeah, nothing happens.
Proving that you should have been patient.
Yeah.
Stop fucking trying to get everything done, Annie.
There's a lot of stuff in the prequel trilogy where it's like a series of events happen and we end up right back where we were.
Yeah.
It's
because
just like,
George thought it looked cool.
Yeah.
And it did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks pretty good. I mean, with the elevator going down and then back up and it shreds those droids on its way back up.
Yeah.
Which is funny.
I like how he's dangling, like, put your arms up. Like, what? It's just going to fall.
But I was laughing about the jets because I was thinking to myself, when I first saw these movies way back, I was like, why is everything better before? And you kind of explained that to me in one of the other episodes we did.
Pre-Civil War, so you have better shit.
Better, more money to go into this stuff.
Yeah, it's a less of a lived universe at this point.
But I was thinking about his jets, and I was thinking like, okay, well maybe it's just like it's like me or anybody. He's getting older. Things are working less.
Yeah.
The jets don't work as well when he gets a little older.
I used to be able to dunk a basketball. Now I can't jump and touch the rim. It happens, man. My jets are gone.
Because I'm thinking, is he jetting at all in the sequel trilogy? I don't.
He's barely in the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, he's not in it a lot.
Barely in that 7.
He spends most of
on the
what is
island.
8 sleeping.
Yeah,
So-
the 7 he's sleeping. 8 he ends up with Luke on Octo, I think. I have to watch it again. I
I've
started
only
saying it
seen-
today that I was like, I'm not very versed in the prequels. I am compared to the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, I would say I've only seen all the sequels. I think I've seen 1 3 times, or 7 3 times,
I knew what you meant when you said
8
one.
2 times, and 9 1 time.
Yeah.
Because I watched them each as the next one came out.
Uh-huh.
But This will be my only time revisiting 9 once we get there.
9 breaks my heart.
Yeah.
We'll get there and you'll hear me cry.
It'll just be 3 hours of Jack bawling while I try to go over story points.
Somehow he returned. But yeah, I think they were trying to pass the torch from R2 into BB.
Yeah.
So he shouldn't be jetting around everywhere as is.
Yeah, because kids don't want R2 toys. That's what their dad had.
Yeah,
they
R2's
want BB
boring.
toys.
R2's the best droid in the fucking Star Wars galaxy.
And they released it, and it never really like took off. I don't think it did well, but they had like a remote control BB-8 droid toy.
Oh yeah, I have one.
I wanted that so bad.
I bought one. I built one in Disneyland.
Oh really? Mm-hmm. I wanted that so bad. I was like, watching those, I was like, this is clearly a toy. Like there's things you can see where you're like, they made this to be a toy. But when they released that, I was like, of course they did, assholes. I'll take one.
It was like Baby Groot. I was like, oh, that works so well.
Great. Now we get little potted plants of Baby Groot dancing. But so they tell us like the Chancellor, they get up to the tower, right?
I do want to mention right here, at one point they say, he's like, I smell a trap. There never really was a trap, right?
Right. The whole thing is
Emperor is Palpatine, or sorry, Sidious, the guy that has fucking 9 names. Sidious. It is a trap.
So Obi-Wan, Palpatine, Sidious the third,
Chancellor, Supreme Chancellor the third,
Supreme Chancellor Emperor Sheev Palpatine Sidious Esquire.
Come off it. But yeah, it's like the whole thing is his trap. So Obi-Wan can kind of tell.
Yeah, this is when the Jedi Council finally, fucking however many years into this, 10, 12 years into Anakin being around, is starting to figure out what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
Like, come on, guys. You're supposed to be powerful.
But
I know he's powerful and
the
he's
dark
hiding
side's
stuff.
clouded him. Especially if you didn't think there was a dark side user. It would be much easier for them to cloud. Like, there hasn't been a Sith in, what did they say? 100 years, 1,000 years?
Yeah, it was a long time. It was 100 years, I think he said. But,
yeah, 100 years.
But in episode 2, fucking Dooku straight up tells him, like, yeah, Sidious.
He tells Obi-Wan, who doesn't believe him.
Oh, okay.
So.
Yeah.
I mean,
but
yeah.
I'm
with you.
It's funny, though, because they're getting the Chancellor. They're like, we have to get up to the top of this observation tower. And they get in there, and it's like, oh, he's definitely being held captive. He's in this throne.
Dude, he's chilling.
He's chilling in this throne. It turns around when they enter the room, just like
exactly
in the
like
original trilogy.
Uh-huh.
Except for he has little like laser cuffs on, and he's like, oh, yes, please help me.
I've run out of chips. I would like to leave now.
It's clearly he's just chilling.
Mm-hmm. He's like slips his arm out to itch his face. And right back in.
Dooku enters for his 8 seconds, and he's fighting Anakin, and there's the really funny delivery from Palpatine of when they're fighting, and Anakin, I think it's right when he cuts off Dooku's hands, and the Emperor or the
It's
Chancellor,
when he gets the upper hand at one point without cutting his hand off.
Oh, it's before that, okay.
And he's like, yeah.
He literally goes, yeah.
He's like a little kid watching like a football player knock somebody out. Like, yeah, stick him.
And we go to the end of the original trilogy because he cuts off Dooku's hands.
Good, Anakin.
Yes, and the Chancellor's like, do it. He gets into his evil Emperor voice. Because he does a good job of flipping between like his doddering old man voice that's there to convince Anakin of things to his like, it's almost like the Dune, like the voice delivery. He's like, do it, and there's like an echo, and he has to.
It is like it's a very forced thing, and I think that's what it is. He can't disguise that.
Yeah.
Good, Anakin.
Do it.
But yeah, and you can see like he tells him he's too dangerous to be kept alive. Hold on to that line, by the way. He's too dangerous to be kept alive, and Dooku kind of looks at him like, the fuck?
Yeah.
Because in the novelization, they have this thing where Dooku is like, I'll just be held trial, and you'll let me out with your power and shit like that, with your clout, as it were.
Okay.
But that's why that look is like, the fuck?
What? I'm being betrayed by a guy who's a part of a group that has a rule of 2?
The guy named Darth is going to betray me? The guy named Sidious is going to betray me?
Wait, what does Darth mean? Dark? Oh, fuck.
Sidious kind of sounds like insidious. It's weird.
Yes, but I'm not in. I'm just Sidious. In is what makes it bad.
It's like famous and infamous.
Yes, I'm not famous.
That's awesome.
But so Anakin scissors off his head with his own lightsaber and with Anakin's lightsaber and Dooku's lightsaber.
It's cool.
And I mean, Christopher Lee is kind of unceremoniously out of this, but it makes sense to what you said about they're trying to bring in Grievous.
Yeah.
I mean, and it does.
They needed something to start Anakin's turn because like we already get it kind of fast at the end. Without this would be even faster.
Yeah, because Anakin is immediately like, well, I shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't have done that. He's just a boy.
He's just Count Dooku. He's just a Sith Lord.
Shouldn't have done that. He's just 90.
You ever wonder why Dooku's eyes were never really all that yellow?
Because he wasn't that bad?
He wasn't that bad in his mind. He was justified.
Well, and they can hide it because Anakin's eyes are yellow later.
Yes.
And then they go back to blue.
Yes, which is funny that he did that because it's supposed to take like an immense amount of concentration. So he just learned it real fast. I mean, he's the chosen one.
He's also murdering an entire room full of children, which would make you turn evil or faster.
And much like you said with Palpatine's voice, when he gets confronted by Padme, he's got that like, I would never, oh, babe, I would never try and fuck your sister. I wasn't even looking at her. When she came out here naked, I said, no, thank you. And I covered my eyes.
So the ship is going down through the atmosphere, and there's space gravity, ?
Okay, so...
And
it's like I told your wife when she was watching, because your wife is a rational human being that points out things.
She was rational, so she was in and out while we were watching.
Exactly. But no, George Lucas has even said I give less care about the science than I do the shot or the story.
Yeah.
And an example would be episode, what is it, 5, when they land in that the worm's mouth in the asteroid. They should need spacesuits for that.
Yeah.
You're still in space in a worm.
So I love the originals so much that once I got old enough to question that, I was like, oh, well, I know it's a worm at that point because I've seen this movie 300 times. I mean, the worm breathes oxygen.
You aren't as wrong as you think you are because the fucking the guys that do the plugging in of these EUs, that worm is such a weird big thing that it actually has its own atmosphere and ecosystem inside of it.
Okay.
So you're not wrong.
I'll believe it.
Yeah.
Because it's from the original trilogy.
Yeah.
You threw that into this, I'd be like, fuck you.
This is so stupid. This is so dumb. But no, and just like we've definitely talked about before, there's no sound in space, but what a boring Star Wars that would be if we're not hearing things blow up.
Yeah.
If there's no fire, if things just like fall apart unceremoniously.
And I will say there are shows and movies that do that where you get into space and it's silent and you'll just hear like the boom, like the bass boom of things going off or whatever when something explodes, but you don't hear a lot of stuff and it works. But there's so much space battle in Star Wars that
this is mostly space battle, especially right now. The first, 20 minutes of this movie are space battle.
I was actually surprised when we were getting towards the end, like when once Order 66 was enacted and all that, I was like, wow, we're already there?
Yeah.
Like, this one moved very quickly because it's mostly action.
It's 2 hours and 8 minutes, I believe. And yes, but unlike episode 1, where that is just so much political grandstanding and backside gesturing and just all this it's so boring.
Yeah.
And 2 as well. Same thing. Like 2 was a struggle to watch more than I remember.
Yeah. I think the more times you watch it, the harder it gets.
And I'm a Star Wars apologist. Like I can watch it and enjoy it. You know, it's just usually when it comes, like certain things come on, I'm like, I'm on my phone.
Oh, this scene, I'm going to go mix a drink.
This is the perfect time for me to take a shit. He's talking about sand and how it gets everywhere. I'm out.
Oh, this scene, I'm getting my blender out and making a full-on cocktail. Like, what'd he say? I don't care.
Time to do my taxes.
There is a great moment right before the ship starts plummeting that we forgot of R2 when they're all taken captive and they're taken to Grievous, and Anakin tells R2 like whatever he says, he's like, "Go get him, boy," or whatever.
R2 will be along shortly. Is what he says, and he just hits.
I forgot even that.
Oh, okay.
I was going to the next one, but yes, we have
the distraction.
That's great because they get put into this. I can't remember the ray shield, which they say 8 times in this scene. Activate the ray shield. Oh my god, a ray shield. Don't worry, R2 will come and help the ray shield.
Smells like ray shield in this bitch.
But he's like, R2 will be along any minute, and R2 flies out of that fucking door, smashing into the wall, which is really funny. And
so now Grievous has him, and he's like, I got your lightsabers. I'm going to add in my collection. Grievous is supposed to be the deadliest hand-to-hand fighter in the galaxy, is what he is. Supposed to
with that, he's supposed to be that, and then later on with Palpatine, when he like reveals himself, you told me those guys are all supposed to be great fighters.
Yeah.
And like those are all things that you learn if you read EU stuff. But like in this, it's just like, well, you're dead.
Yeah.
Like, and I guess it's like if you read the books, then you watch that and you go, "Oh, that guy was a great fighter."
And this is kind of what I always did is I found a character like Grievous. I was like, I want to know more about you.
Yeah,
like why does he hate the Jedi? So him and his people, the Kaleesh, I believe they're called, the Kaleesh or Kaleesh. I don't know how to say it because I've never heard it. I've just read it. But him and his people were just these fucking dope warriors. But there was other sentient creatures on his planet that were like enslaving him and eradicating him. So somebody sent out for like Republic aid. The Jedi came and for whatever reason deemed we can't do anything about this. So he's just like, fuck the Jedi. You let my people just get slaughtered. You guys are scum. The Republic that we're supposed to be joining can do nothing for us. I'm going to take up arms against you.
Okay. They don't have like a rule like in Star Trek where they're not supposed to interfere with like the
lower life forms.
Yeah, forming cultures. Or
no,
whatever.
I mean, and at least his culture was new enough to reach out to the Republic.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like they were interfering. It was, hey, come down here. Just like, okay, so I guess it mirrors Naboo. Something bad's happening. I don't see anything bad happening. Like, what do you mean nothing? These people are getting blockaded and starved. Oh,
you're all starving to death. That sounds like a you problem.
It's a lot like what's happening right now in actual human life.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I see nothing wrong over here. What do you mean?
But Anakin cues R2 to do something to distract them.
Hit it, R2.
Is that what it is? Hit it. And he just lights up like a fucking one-man rave, shooting out electricity, shooting out fucking fog machines and foam.
Think of Dick
There's
Van
glow
Dyke.
sticks flying out for people to grab.
Think of Dick Van Dyke from Mary Poppins as a one-man band on meth. That's what you're getting.
It's R2 going, look what I can do.
Quick, Derek, distract him. But it works. I mean, everyone's like, what the fuck?
It does. It's funny. And it does distract them because, they're like, hold on. What's this little droid doing? He's exploding.
Look at that little weird feller. So they get their lightsabers, and then we get to see them fight the Magna droids, who I like this design.
I like their fighty sticks.
Electro staff. It's not a good name.
I like fighty sticks.
Yeah, fighty sticks better.
Well, we can throw in electro sticks.
I mean, we've seen this throughout expanded universe games and whatnot, comics. There are things that can dual lightsaber, not just Beskar.
Yeah,
this
just needs some kind of force to stop the saber itself.
Yeah,
so
whether
the
it's a
electricity.
vibro blade or vibro mesh or this electro staff.
I wouldn't know if I'd want to wear vibro mesh. Like I get the vibro blade.
Vibro mesh you can put over. You don't wear it. You put it over a weapon.
It sounds like with mesh. It sounds like
you would
like
put a
mesh
vibro mesh over your fucking Gamorrean axe.
Okay, yeah. Because I was thinking like I've seen the vibro blades. I think we see it in some of the Disney series. Finally,
yes, you do. It definitely, I think, was invented for Knights of the Old Republic 1, if I'm not wrong, but I could be. But yeah, you actually see it in Mando.
Yeah, he does his little explosion thing, and they fight the Magna droids and. Grievous just bounces. He tries to bounce.
He runs like he always does. They keep saying over and over. Like he's a good hand-to-hand fighter, but he's also a cockroach.
Yeah.
So, and I like how he does this. He takes the electro staff and just busts the window of this bridge, which sucks him out, starts sucking everybody out, but they hold on. And he just uses his go-go gadget grappling hook and pulls himself back onto the shuttle, goes inside, ejects all the fucking escape pods, and he's out.
Okay, because when they're going through the atmosphere, something flew off the outside of the ship, and I missed him going in the pod.
It's
because I thought it was him flying off the ship, but like he would make it because he's not alive per se.
He does have he has to breathe oxygen to a degree.
Yeah,
he has heart, he has lungs, he's got brain, he's got wet eyes.
But if he like closes his like metal parts, I guess he could maybe protect.
Maybe with all his augmentations, yeah.
But it wasn't him, so it doesn't matter.
But what a design that you can launch all the escape pods from one. Like, what if somebody just like leaned on and was like, oh, fuck.
Whoops.
I just launched all of them. Sorry, guys.
Wait, I don't know what these two symbols mean. One of them's to launch all of them. One of them's to launch one. I'm not 100%.
I mean, now...
50-50 shot.
Now that I'm saying it out loud, it's a ship of mostly droids. So, yeah, you would be like, fuck them. That's why.
They don't know which one I'm in. Go. So, yeah, they end up escaping. They land what Obi-Wan calls a half a ship.
Yeah. It is a quarter of a ship, but it's a cockpit.
It's a flaming cockpit.
It is a fuselage.
I'll call it landing.
Because falling with style.
They didn't die, yeah.
To Coruscant and beyond.
And then we go to like a Jedi Council meeting now, right? Like there's not much in
Yeah.
between there where they're telling Anakin they're going to promote him. He's going to be part of the
Well,
council.
not yet. No, we do. I just want to touch the plot point of him and Padme, like in the shadows, not hiding it well. Like they're kissing just outside of the halls.
Yeah. Like, don't worry, there's a shadow. No one can see us.
Yeah. Just kiss me quietly. Shut up.
I'm pregnant.
Shut up. What?
I do like his reaction because it's like a normal dude reaction where it's like, I'm pregnant. And he's like, and she's like, right? And he's like, yeah, that's good. That's good. You know what? It's good.
We're going to take a trip to Tatooine, not because abortion's legal there, just because.
Look, with the most recent overturning of like congressional rulings, abortion's illegal on Naboo, so we'll just go to Tatooine. It's not far.
Yeah, you know that Roe v. WWR2D2. Couldn't think of a good robot designation
Roe
for
v.
that.
Palpatine.
Roe v. Palpatine. Roe v. Obi-Wan.
I don't know if Roe was the good one or not.
I don't know either. I don't think any of them are good.
All right.
They're all a bunch of rich white men. But yeah, I want to touch on that plot because it's like...
Wait, you have a problem with rich white men? Fuck you, man.
Fuck you, buddy.
Sorry, go ahead.
Give your balls a tug, tit fucker. No, I want to touch on that plot point because it is in the background. And I think it's showing that he's nervous because he's like, fuck, this could jeopardize your career, as we find out, and my career as well. Like, she says that if I'm pregnant, I'm not going to be allowed to serve in the Senate, which, what?
Yeah, because this is a very misogynistic culture.
She even says the queen won't let me serve. So even the queen's in on misogyny, the voted in queen.
That's horseshit.
So yeah, but he does flip it though. He's like, I'm fucking stoked because this is what he wants. He wants a family. He lost his mom, and now he's got a woman he can call mother when his kids come around.
I'll be there like my dad wasn't. Trust me.
There's no pattern here.
But so they put him on the council, but they tell him he's not going to be a master, and that's the next step to the dark side because he gets all pissy about
the Emperor,
it.
or sorry, fuck, goddamn it, Palpatine did it on purpose. We know what you mean. Yeah, Palpatine did it on purpose. He knew. He's like, I want this dude on the council, and they will not make him master because he has not done the trials. Which, if you've watched any Clone Wars, he has done all the trials. Oh, and if you watch the Clone War, when he meets Grievous, he says, like, I thought you'd be taller. They've met. They've fought. They've battled. So
yeah, because you're not having 7 years of a cartoon about the Clone Wars and not having your main guy fight your main bad guy or one of the main bad guys.
That wheeze, by the way, I know you know probably both of these facts, but one is because of Mace Windu.
Yeah,
in the cartoons,
he crushed his breathy sack.
Yeah, I think we call them lungs.
Okay.
And then I know you know this one. The noise, the cough is done from George Lucas himself.
Yeah, because apparently he was sick while they were doing post-production. Yeah,
and somebody was talking about it. He's like, I've got a cough.
I can't do a Kermit coughing.
But yeah, so
just drinking my tea, motherfucker.
Minding my own business.
So yeah, so Palpatine was kind of putting it in his mind, like, hey, they're, because he was telling him, he's like, well, they don't respect you, so like, even if they do this stuff, they're not going to give you everything, and then they don't.
Yeah, he's like, bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get a line later that Anakin has been his apprentice since he killed Dooku. Now, Anakin doesn't know that.
Yeah.
Only the Emperor Palpatine really knew that, and it's just been step of manipulation. I mean, pretty much since they met, calling him son.
And they put him undercover basically to report to the Jedi Council about what Palpatine's doing.
Which is the stupidest thing because you don't trust this dude.
Yeah. Well, he goes to Padme and she's like, what'd they ask you to do that makes you uncomfortable? And he's like, yeah, I don't want to talk about it. And then he goes to Palpatine and Palpatine's like, they asked you to spy on me? And he's like,
yep.
I mean, I'm not going to say no.
What do you want to hear?
He's a terrible liar in this.
Dude,
like,
sending him to go spy on Palpatine would be like me having you do an undercover research on a whiskey distillery. Like, Derrick, just no matter what they feed you, come back to me and tell me. Like, no, you are going to drink all that place up. And you're going to be on their side because they fed you whiskey all day.
And even in this scene where they're at this opera, Palpatine is telling Anakin about Darth Plagueis and his ability to manipulate the midichlorians to create life and to prevent death and whatever.
Before he does that, we get another shot of Sly Moore, the bald chick that is Rey's grandma, apparently.
See, and again, I've only seen episode 9 one time, and
I don't think that's in the movie.
Okay,
I think this. I kind of often
because don't they say she's just a clone, or is she made from his midichlorian seed? I don't know.
I don't think midichlorian seed's the right term. I'd have to go back and refigure it out. Also, Bad Batch is doing some work to plug in some fucking background story. It is doing strand casting, M counts, and all the things that we need.
We'll get there in like 2 years.
Yeah.
To episode 9.
Yeah.
Thank God it'll be a while.
I only talk about it now because Bad Batch is on its final season right now. And
Okay.
I'm currently loving it.
Yeah, I saw it pop up, and I thought about watching it, but I haven't watched any of the rest of it, so I don't know.
You know what you do? Anybody listening that's interested, because like I will say that all of the animation style for the most part is very rough. This newest season of Bad Batch looks good, but it is still that weird blocky animation. If you're gonna watch Bad Batch, just YouTube like what to know before and watch like a 15-minute video of what what you need to know from the Clone Wars.
Okay.
Don't watch all the Clone Wars.
I remember some of those guys from the Clone Wars stuff I've seen.
Sure.
Because they're the ones who have like, they're all in the clone armor, but they have like their own color and their own specific like design kind of.
They all have very specific mutations.
Okay.
Genetic mutations. One is a dope sniper. One's name is Tech. I wonder what he's good at. Wrecker is a big dumb animal kind of thing. And then Hunter can track. Like they all have a very particular set of skills.
Speaking of this.
Yeah, speaking
well, not this.
Neeson's.
Apparently he recorded a scene for this.
Yeah, dialogue at least. I don't know. Did he show up on
the
set?
The thing I read said that there's he recorded an actual scene.
Oh yeah, came on set there.
And then they were supposed to use that with him as like a Force ghost, and then they just ended up, and then he was told they were going to just use the dialogue, and then none of it's in this.
None of it's there. Shame, dude. More Neeson's.
But he's telling him about like, oh, the dark side can do this, the dark side can do that, the dark side. Anakin's just like, huh.
Interesting. Not how do you know this?
Yeah, which later on when Palpatine's talking about the dark side, Anakin's like, how do you know so much? And I'm like, wouldn't you have said that 8 months ago?
You're
or
just
whatever?
now catching on.
Yeah, because this feels like it takes place over like 4 days, but we go from Padme saying she's pregnant to her showing and having babies.
Her bump is the only thing that's really helping us keep time.
Yeah. And I guess the babies aren't necessarily born 9 months out because they have to take them to save them.
Some huge
but it's pretty
preemies.
Close.
Some huge fucking preemies, man. Those babies are monsters.
Pull out a preemie and it's just like, hey, mama.
Wow, getting tight in there. Thanks for letting me move out.
So then I think the next thing is the battle on Kashyyyk.
Yeah, I just want to bring up more. We do get a little bit more of like Anakin's nightmares about Padme, and these are all being fed by Palpatine.
Yeah, because it's showing much more dramatic versions of this end scene of the movie.
Well, and the dreams that we see aren't even all of them. There's more that are happening that we don't see in the novelization and whatnot. It is happening consistently.
Okay.
Like he is getting bombarded with, she's gonna die. She's gonna die. It's not just like, oh, I had a spoopy dream that your teeth were made of wood, and when you went to kiss me, spiders came out of your mouth. And then I pulled your arm.
That is a spoopy dream.
That is spoopy. When I pulled your arm, a bunch of coins came out of your butt like a slot machine.
You started going ching, 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 ching. But yeah, I think Yoda goes to Kashyyyk. Well, they don't say. They just say the Wookiee homeworld.
Yeah.
Does it have a name yet?
Kashyyyk. Well, I guess you don't know it in this movie?
I feel like they've never said it in any of the movies until
I
the
do have to
sequels.
rewatch. Oh, you're going to have to watch it with me. The holiday special. Because the Star Wars Holiday Special is what inspired this. That design is Ralph McQuarrie, who we probably haven't mentioned that name yet. Ralph McQuarrie has much more to do with Star Wars than people know. He's the concept design. Like what you like about Boba Fett's look is Ralph McQuarrie.
It's George Lucas sitting on a couch smoking weed, just talking to Ralph McQuarrie like, so like some kind of fucking helmet or something, man. I don't know, like
giant fucking trees,
dude, jetpack, jetpack.
What's his name? Boba.
I really want one of those drinks with the big globs in it. You mean boba tea, George? Yeah. Oh, you know what? That's a great name.
What about some feta cheese? A boba tea feta cheese. Boba Fett, please. Now look up
boba
Ralph
tea
McQuarrie.
And feta cheese.
I don't know.
Weird combo.
I don't know if that's good or not. Make boba out of feta. Got it. Now Ralph McQuarrie. I don't know if he gets enough praise outside of like the huge nerds like myself. That just like this guy. What George Lucas had like a inkling idea for, he made real.
And we will cover the Star Wars Holiday Special. It's not technically canon.
No, it shouldn't
Actually,
be.
George Lucas is trying to make it, has tried many times, and so has everybody, to make it not exist.
But the fans just keep putting better versions on YouTube.
There is apparently a 5K upgrade on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm like, sign me up.
Can't stop, won't stop. It is the first official appearance of Boba Fett and Blurgs.
Yeah, Boba Fett is a cartoon.
Yeah.
I know that. I've never seen it. I know a lot about it.
I've never seen it sober.
I thought about it later in this movie when we have Chewbacca talking to that other Wookiee.
Tarful.
I was like, that's like 30 seconds. And I was like, I can hardly imagine 40 minutes of this.
Dude, it is something else. I tried to watch it with Bleep Bleep and their Little Bleep. And Little Bleep was like, can we do anything else? I'm like, you are 9 years old and obsessed with Star Wars. This should be slapping right now. And she's just like, this is dumb. This is awful. I was like, God. But yeah, so this Kashyyyk and the planet was just based on this, like based on that giant trees. The Wookiee culture I actually find fascinating because they have a perfect merriment of nature and technology. They're very technologically smart and they advanced, but they don't use it.
All we really see of them in like live action movie and TV stuff is basically this, and then I think there's a couple scenes in the sequel trilogy, right?
There is a scene in Solo where a bunch of Wookiees are slaves in the Kessel mine, the spice mines of Kessel.
I know that. I swear there's a part in maybe it's in Solo or maybe it's in the sequels where they go to the planet, but maybe not.
I'm trying to think again. Sequel trilogy, least versed. I don't think they go to Kashyyyk, but I could be wrong. I'd be happy to be wrong. I love the building. Like I know we go to Kashyyyk in Force Unleashed, and I know we go in KOTOR, at least number 1, maybe a number 2.
Okay.
And like, dude, it's terrifying because like the Shadowlands where like you can't see because the canopy of the jungle blocks it out. The Wookiees are not the highest life form. Apex
That's why
predator.
they live in trees.
That's why they live in trees. You bet your sweet
Wookiees
ass.
are just basically really tall. Oh fuck.
Lemurs.
No, the little puppet men.
Ewoks.
Ewoks, thank you. They're not puppets, but they look like puppets.
He said puppet man. I was like, oh my God, like animal?
I don't know why I couldn't think of the word Ewok.
Kermit the Frog here. I'm kind of a puppet man myself. Are you talking about me, perhaps?
But there's a great scene of they're getting attacked on Kashyyyk there, and some of the Wookiees swing out of trees to land on this ship, and one of them gives a straight up Tarzan howl.
Okay. It seems out of place, right? Episode 6, Chewbacca himself does a Tarzan call when he swoops onto the AT-ST.
Oh, okay. You're right.
So there is precedent set. I don't like it. Like, I don't like it because it's like, well, Tarzan's our universe, but I didn't make this movie.
Yeah. I mean, maybe the guy who made Tarzan just like knew about this because it is a long time ago.
Far, far away. E.T. brought that information to him, dude.
Oh, that's what happened.
We are connecting dots.
So where we get to, I think Obi-Wan is infiltrating whatever that place is called.
Utapau?
Utapau?
Utapau. Or Utapau, I don't know.
But the note I have here is something we talked about that's unrelated to this because there's the clone army shows up here. But I have to mention it. I had said something about what if this was an army of Michael Keaton clones, like Multiplicity?
She took my lightsaber, Steve. I like Spotchka.
Like,
I got a license. I could drive a TIE fighter. If you haven't seen Multiplicity, the 4th clone is not all there because you made a copy of a copy.
Yeah, and I just had to write it down because we were talking about it, and I was like, this is funny. I was like, so we came up with who's the Bad Batch of the Michael Keatons?
Batman.
Batman, of course.
Birdman.
The
Vulture, and there was one
Beetlejuice.
And Beetlejuice. Just a bunch of Beetlejuice. We come for your daughter, Chuck. Come for your daughter, Chuck. Come for your daughter. Come for your daughter. Come for your daughter. Come.
I mean, he could do that, right? He's got magic powers.
And I've seen a galactic civilization 1,000 fucking times. Keeps getting better every time I see it. I would watch it. I would watch a clone of Michael Keaton. Like, you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts. All fucking day.
They'd be much more individual clones, though. I feel like,
yeah,
they'd be. You tell them Order 66, and they're gonna question you.
So the Clone Wars cartoon always has different names. Like they have individual personalities. There's Sixes. There's Rex. There's Top Knot. There's Oddball. There's fucking Wolf. There is Gregor. I mean, like these are names that they have. Individual personalities. So I want to talk about. Are we at Order 66 just yet? No,
we're on.
Remind me when we get there, please.
Yeah. So he gets to Ulakalaka. Utapau?
Utapau.
Okay, thank you.
So Obi-Wan gets to Utapau, and he's greeted by an Utapauan, which the only thing I want to bring up about this guy besides the actor is this is what the Grand Inquisitor was supposed to look like from the Obi-Wan series. which we got the same skin with the hard lines in the face, but not the elongated head and the teeth, which is why everybody was so upset with Rupert Grint's look, because they've done it before. You've made an Utapauan before, and now all of a sudden you're not doing it. I don't get it.
Well, I just looked him up because I was trying to remember what he looked like exactly, because I've only watched the show once.
Yeah.
And it looks like there's Clone Wars footage of him where he's not too different, but he does have the tall head, versus in the live action show, he's just got a big head.
Yeah.
It's not tall, but he doesn't have like the ridges on him like these guys do. Even in the
live action, they have ridges. I think in the cartoon, maybe they just couldn't figure out how it looked.
Yeah, and I mean, these might not be real Clone Wars things, but I feel like they are. But it could also be fan made. Oh, you know what?
He's in Rebels.
This one does have the ridges. This ruffle has ridges.
This Inquisitor has ridges.
Pauan, by the way, Pau'An.
Oh, not Utapauan, just Pauan.
Yeah.
Okay, so he meets the guy that is the same race as Inquisitor, but this guy is played by Bruce Spence, who's been on the show before, or on our main show, sorry.
Yeah.
And most people would probably know him best from one of two movies, Mad Max Road Warrior. He's the Aussie that has the gyrocopter.
Yeah.
And in Ace Ventura 2 When Nature Calls, he is the barefoot poacher that trained with Aboriginals. So now we're getting to where Lucas loves to prove animals over technology.
Yeah.
It happens sometimes in a good way, sometimes in a real shitty episode 9 way. Via example given, riding space horses on top of the Star Destroyer in space.
They breathe protons?
Sure.
Question mark?
Yeah, you betcha. They're breathing in those tachyon particles.
Hey, you know what? We're using Star Wars logic. The Force.
The Force.
They're force-wielding camels.
But so now he's riding this giant like feather chameleon bird lizard thing, which I half like the sound, half hate the sound. It does this like which I don't like.
I'm okay with the sound.
But the warbles sound awesome.
I'm okay with the sound of the creature. It kind of makes sense. It sounds like something from a jungle, which is kind of what this planet is, outside of this pit mine that we're mostly in.
Uh-huh.
But like, I don't like the animation because like it's doing like it's running too quickly. It's like
nothing's there.
Yeah, it's hard to describe how it's like it's running, but it's not really touching the ground a lot of times.
Yeah, you're not seeing traction. You're not seeing any friction. You're not seeing Earth move around it. It's gliding.
Obi-Wan really doesn't like being in ships.
Uh-huh.
We kind of brushed over earlier when they crash land inside the ship where they're saving the Chancellor.
Obi-Wan's
as soon as that ship hits, he is out.
And Anakin's over there, the badass. Like Anakin is known in this galaxy, probably at this point, definitely at this point, as the hero with no fear. And it shows his ship crash, and he's like, take off my 5-point harness. Let me stow my headpiece here. Make sure my table's in an upright position. Now I'm ready to fight. Obi-Wan's already slaughtered like 10 droids.
Yeah, because he's like, I want to get out of this ship as soon as possible.
Yeah.
But then
sweet land.
He's riding this lizard thing, and I'm like, this seems worse than being in a starship.
This is way worse. This is way fucking
His
worse.
little cartoon of him is flopping around on this thing.
He trusts the Force.
Yeah.
He trusts the living Force. He does not trust a mechanical thing like Vader.
Yeah.
Connecting dots.
But he does sneak in with this warbling thing. It decides to stop warbling as they sneak in.
Shut the fuck up.
Though it's so stupid because he sneaks in and there's like this war council meeting with Grievous and all these bad guys, and he just jumps down,
surrounded by no less than 50 droids.
Yeah.
I might be undershooting by 50.
and he just jumps into the middle of it and he goes, "Hello there."
Hello there. You know what, though? Like, look at episode 2 when the Jedi tried to rescue him and Anakin. They dropped themselves in the Geonosian fucking arena, surrounded by Geonosians and droids. So, like, this is a Jedi tactic.
Yeah.
All right, so sneak in there, get the element of surprise, jump down, say a snappy line, something like "hello there," you know, and then get ready to fuck shit up.
Yeah, they're not great tacticians. They're just
aren't.
really great fighters, supposedly.
In the game, it just got re-released, Battlefront. They talk about how the clones are annoyed that they have to take orders from the Jedi because these clones are battle hardened and they know strategy, and the Jedi are just like, let's just march up. But they have to because they're in charge.
All right, there's an army coming at us. They have a bunch of 18-story tall creatures and droids. Run that way.
I do recommend playing that game because the diaries of the clone troopers that you can find, like little lore Easter eggs, are all voiced by Tamora Morrison. So that's fucking dope. I know people were upset that they replaced the Jeremy Bullock with him, and I get why you're upset, but it happened.
Yeah.
This is our Boba Fett. If it's not your Boba Fett, you got to stop watching. That's how it works.
Yeah.
It's like saying not my president. It's like, yeah, but he is. You didn't vote for him, but he is the fucking president.
You don't vote for him or want him to do anything he did, but he is the president.
Here we are.
Yeah, even if he's a filthy Nazi.
The Senate's gonna grant me some more powers. I'm gonna be the best chancellor ever.
You know, speaking of that, it's a real fear for the near future. As I was reading Chancellor Palpatine's like strategy to maintain power and gain power throughout this trilogy is a real political strategy. Like political scientists know of it. It's called perpetual war. Which is a little more than what it sounds like, which is just perpetual war. I mean, that's
sounds like we just don't stop fighting.
That's been the United States since its inception. But it's a thing where you come to power through conflict. Like in this case, he came to power through conflict with the Trade Federation. And then he gains greater privileges through the Clone Wars because he's like, well, I need to be in more control because otherwise we'll lose this war. And then he solidifies his power through war on the Jedi. And that's when he just declares himself emperor, and everybody's just like, neato.
What year did this come out?
2000. I want to say it was 2005.
Who was our president?
W.
This is what he modeled after.
Yeah.
George Lucas was very scared that, or at least nervous, that W was going to do like some conflict. Maybe he thinks that he did 9/11 himself, and is like, well, now I got to declare martial law just to keep you guys safe, and when it's over, I will give back my... No, you won't. And that's what he was nervous about.
Yeah.
Lucas, for whatever you think about him, always does plug in some real-life stuff. The Emperor in the original trilogy is Nixon. The Ewoks are Viet Cong.
Yeah.
That's just...
Which is why they win.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't win. We just left.
Yeah. It was never a war. We didn't really count it.
But
conflict.
During this whole thing, he takes out some droids, a bunch of clone troopers drop in, but this is when we get the reveal of the four-armed General Grievous.
And I'll tell you right now,
he takes off his cloak and pulls out 4 lightsabers.
It's not as cool as Darth Maul double lightsaber, but it is fucking cool.
And when I remember when I first saw it, I had the exact same feeling. I was like, all right, that's cool. Also, why are you just trying to one up what you just did?
If two blades was cool, 4 is gonna be fucking dope.
That's twice as cool.
That's twice as cool. That's a lot of blades.
That's 4 times cooler than any Skywalker.
But I do want to say, think about someone without the Force being able to control 4 lightsabers is impressive. That's something they wanted to get across, that he can do this. And I think I told you there was a dropped plot line of Sifo-Dyas, the Jedi whose name is mentioned for having the premonitions about the Clone War. Yada, yada. His blood was supposed to be injected into Grievous, which is like, that's why he can control lightsaber. Okay. Super glad they dropped that.
Yeah, it's not needed.
And then all of a sudden you set up so many things of like, so if I kill a Jedi and drink its blood, I'm kind of Jedi.
Oh man, then we get vampire Jedi.
Oh, I'm kind of back in. That's dope. I want to suck your saber. Wait a minute.
But it is showing that he can control these 4 lightsabers, but he's kind of just doing the Grand Inquisitor thing, speaking of, where they have that stupid...
It's shock and awe.
What's that thing called again?
The spinning lightsaber?
Yeah.
I fucking hate this design.
Yeah,
it's the stupidest
it's just
thing.
like that, except for he's got 4, and one in each hand, and they're just spinning. And it's supposed to be like, oh, I was trained by Dooku, I can do this. But immediately he gets 2 of his hands cut off.
Yeah. Because Obi-Wan is arguably one of the best Jedi. He really, really is.
Okay.
I mean, it's always undersold because Anakin's the chosen one, but it's like he defeated Maul, he defeated Grievous, he defeated Anakin.
Yeah, and I mentioned it to you while we were watching it, and at the end we do see different. But every scene we've seen in the prequel trilogy, Anakin and Obi-Wan are the only ones going on missions.
Yeah.
Yoda goes to like talk to people, but it seems like they're never sending anyone else on a mission. And we do see different at the end. And of course, if you watch the cartoons,
I was going to say, I don't want to keep advocating for the cartoon, but this is what the cartoon was good at. Because if someone like you is like, man, I never see anybody else adventure. Well, have I got a cartoon for you? Did you want to see Plo Koon on the Outer Rim?
That sounds a lot more
Did
sexual.
You want to see Kit Fisto fight a shark?
If you would have went Kit Fisto on the Outer Rim, I would have been a lot more worried.
I chose very wisely right there. I think if I say Kit Fisto Outer Rim, Derek's going to lose his shit right now. This week, Kit Fisto on the Outer Rim is hammering it in.
And that guy is 2/3 the reason I can't watch that show.
Oh, the announcer at the beginning.
Yeah, maybe not 2/3, but a solid half.
And especially if you are like me and you're a binger, it's going to get annoying, dude.
Yeah.
Like me and the ex used to, when we were watching it, we would mute it and read it to each other and do our shittiest kind of voice. We like almost Robin Leach. The Emperor has a lovely yacht.
The lifestyles of the Sith and Jedi.
Lifestyles of the Sith and Shameless.
They're a car chase basically ensues, right? Grievous jumps into one of these little spinny wheel
because
things.
it's George Lucas. He needs a car chase. Actually, I love this vehicle though.
But it's cool because it runs at first and then the feet come up and it starts spinning.
This is a caveat to my rule that I do not like wheels in Star Wars.
Yeah.
We never saw them in the original trilogy. We never saw a wheel. We barely see it in this except for on the Republic has a vehicle that has wheels and a couple droids are wheels.
What do they call that thing on South Park? Is it just...
Oh, God. The thing that has a dildo for a seat. I don't know. The thingamajig.
It's just like it's like a
the
thing.
whatchamacallit or the thingamajig or something like that.
That's kind of what it makes me think of. And it's like you have to have a dildo in your ass and a dildo in your mouth to pilot it.
Well, you have to suck it to start it. Grievous is just taking it up the tailpipe right now. Got to get away. oh.
But this lizard is keeping up with this wheel thing. Like it's chasing this wheelie mobile down, and it's keeping up with it until, like, it's funny because I think Grievous pulls Obi-Wan onto the thing.
Yeah, they're fighting with one of the Electro staffs. Like first, Grievous is trying to hit him with it.
He lost his lightsaber in a hilarious scene. Not the losing of it, just kind of gets knocked out of his hand.
Yeah,
but it just drops in front of this clone trooper who just like kind of looks up like, the fuck?
Huh? It just made me think of Three Amigos. Are gringos falling out of the sky? Bam!
But Grievous pulls him over onto the wheelie mobile, and this lizard is just like, and I'm out.
Yeah, I'm done. If there's no one on my back, I'm done running.
And we do see they get onto a much more narrow pathway, so he must have seen it coming as my reasoning for this.
Oh, I think the lizard's like, fuck you.
But that's what I first thought was the lizard was just like, no rider, no care.
Done here.
Yeah. Like, it's like horses in a Wild West battle. That guy gets shot, that horse is running the opposite direction.
Yeah. I'm not going towards the gunfire, you idiots.
I'm out. So while that's going on, though, we're back at the capital here at Coruscant. Or is it Coruscant or Coruscant?
Coruscant.
Okay, I know we've said Coruscant, but I've heard both.
Otherwise, it's Corsicant. And I mean, we're gonna be okay with that, but not a lot of people are gonna be okay with the Coruscant.
No, but every time I'm watching, Andor or whatever, and they're like, "Let's get back to Corsicant," I'm just like,
hey, I'm not that mature. But
we're
yeah,
adults.
I think we're getting now to Anakin fucking like, wait, you're a bad guy?
Yeah, Palpatine.
By the way,
straight up reveals himself.
We kept loving the fact that Palpatine's office is red with Sith artifacts. Like these, there's significance to these statues that he has there.
His office is black and gray, but all of his like view screens are red, and his lights are like the lights that are there are like red. And I'm like, guys,
it would be the equivalent of you walking to your buddy's house and he's got Confederate flags and swastikas, and like, oh no, this is just memorabilia. I just like this stuff.
I just appreciate Sith culture.
I was in a speeder bike gang when I was younger, and our symbol is a Sith flag. I just don't know what to tell you. It's a sign of heritage, not hatred. My great-great-grandfather fought in the Sith Wars.
Like, I understand clouding the Force and the whatever,
but that goes so
it's
far,
been
right?
1,000 years.
That
dude.
goes so far.
You're telling me no one along the line was like, I'm feeling some Sith in the Force, guys.
Yeah.
No
one's ever gone
Someone's
bad.
Force choking a prostitute. Like
when Anakin. Fair. When Anakin and Padme are back in the shadows, like an hour ago in this movie, and she's like, they'll expel you from the Order. I started thinking, I don't think they would just expel him. They would do what they could to cut him off from the Force, because you couldn't let somebody this powerful just go off on his own.
Yeah, because then
that's how you get a Sith
or a non-existent gray Jedi.
Yeah,
which they don't. I'm sure.
Which
they don't
Anakin
like
has nothing in him to be a gray Jedi. He's just too passionate. He's too emotional. He's too whiny.
If we're thinking about, for my benefit and for anybody out there who plays Dungeons and Dragons, I know you don't play, but you're familiar with the alignments.
Yeah, like chaotic.
A gray
neutral.
Jedi, is that more chaotic neutral?
It's
more like
they're just neutral.
I do what I do. Like, I'll do bad things, I'll do good things, but I'm 100% just doing it for myself.
I will. No, it's not even fair. I will do what the Force tells me. It could be a good thing. It could be a bad thing. I might have to kill that family, but it's because the Force told me to kill that family to save 7 million people.
Okay.
Kind of thing. Like where a Jedi would be like, well, I'm not going to kill that family. I'm just going to try and stop 7 million people from dying. And a
Okay.
Sith would be like, well, I'm going to kill everybody. The great Jedi is like, the Force told me that the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few kind of thing.
Oh, so Spock is a gray Jedi.
Spock is a great Jedi for sure.
Okay. I mean, he does have magic powers,
He does.
but that's a different fantasy universe.
Damn it, Jimmy's a Vulcan.
You green-blooded Vulcan. There's a lot of racism on that show.
Oh, yeah.
Even though it is the first show that had a black woman and a white man kissing.
Kiss. Yeah.
But anyway,
What took you so long,
that's
America?
a different fantasy universe.
Yep.
And I'm talking about America showing interracial couples.
America being okay with a black man or black woman kissing a white man, that's not real.
But yeah, so he pretty much reveals himself, and instead of cutting back and forth, we can just go through what happens because.
But I just want to bring up, you got to watch his mouth in this scene because he's like, I know things about the dark side, and then his mouth goes agape like, huh? What do you think? Like he's testing the waters. It's almost like you're sitting next to somebody at a bar. Think about like 15 years ago when weed wasn't as legal and prominent. You know, you had like a joint in your pocket, and you don't know if the guy next to you wants to smoke with you or if he's a cop. So you like bring it up like, I've been known to partake in the dark side. Did you want to go outside and dark side with me? No, me neither. I'm not a dark sider.
No, I'm not a Sith.
No, crumbling a joint. No, I'm no Sith. No. But yeah, he's feeling these waters out, man.
And I don't
It's like
really
before you say
understand-
something racist, you slide a Trump coin across the bar to somebody to see how they react before you say something racist.
You put on your red hat.
What's this do for you?
Oh, that's stupid. Yeah, no.
Make the galaxy Sith again.
I like make the Empire great again. It's mega. That's even better than
MAGA is
MAGA.
better than MAGA.
That's a real thing, mega. But he's feeling him out, and Alkin,
Anakin.
Alan Arkin is like,
Alan Arkin and Star. Oh, these fucking Jawas over here trying to steal from us.
but Alan
what the
Arkin
fuck is
tells
a
him,
Jawa?
like, I'm gonna turn you in, and he's like, yeah, you probably should.
Go ahead.
Do it. I dare you.
He's getting Palpatine's getting sexual now because he's like, I want to kill you. Oh, I know you would.
Yeah,
I
choke
can
me, Daddy.
feel it.
But yeah, so Anakin, instead of jumping back and forth, we'll cover this real quick because Anakin basically just goes straight to Mace Windu, and he's like, so I learned something not so great.
Bad news. The guy in charge of all of us, kind of the devil. Just, there's no other way to say it.
I know that we knew that there was like a Sith guy out there somewhere. It turns out it's the guy in charge of everything that we've been giving unlimited power.
I mean, this is like worst case scenario. It's like, man, the guy that's in charge of this army is in charge of the other army. He has all the control. I mean, Palpatine was so good at this because no matter what side wins, he always wanted the Republic to win. But in case it just didn't, he's got his bases covered.
Yeah.
I'm gonna win this war because I'm playing checkers against myself.
And it kind of doesn't make sense to me. Like, I understand controlling both sides, but like, wouldn't the separatist side at some point be like, we are losing an awful lot of battles when we're supposed to have a guy high up who's helping us? Like,
They didn't know that their leader is in the Republic. Most of them.
okay,
They just thought Darth Sidious was a
I guess that's
Sith Lord.
fair because the
Not many people know Sidious is Palpatine.
because the bad Asian stereotypes that show up later in this movie,
Pneumonians.
they even say when Anakin arrives, they're like, Lord Vader, we've been expecting you. Like, I'm like, don't you recognize this dude from a couple years ago?
Everyone should recognize Anakin.
Anakin
This
came
is
in
the-
and killed all your friends, like not more than a few years ago.
He's the galaxy's equivalent of the Beatles. Like, imagine the Beatles going somewhere and be like, "We're gonna play you a small concert." No, we know who you are.
We're undercover.
Undercover Beatles, I'm just trying to get more songs on the album.
John, you have to get rid of that girl. We can't be undercover when she's howling all the time. That's why they broke up. They couldn't do their undercover missions anymore because Yoko was just like. Then we get back to the Kenobi and Grievous battle, and Grievous basically almost knocks him off this platform with no railing, as Star Wars
It's
is.
Star Wars,
yeah.
man. Oh, you know what I just thought about? The Powans are very bat-like. I don't know why I just thought of this. Their
Yeah.
features are kind of bat-like, and they live in these cave things. Like,
They've got like the weird sharp teeth, but they're not
I bet you that they de-evolved or evolved from having wings. I'm just betting.
and they look like they would be evil.
Absolutely,
In
they
this
do.
universe,
Yeah.
like because in the Star Wars universe, it's pretty obvious who's good and who's bad, even though no one seems to know.
At first, it is, yes. George Lucas made it that way, but like the comics and sense, like then, like the Deveronians, which are the devil-looking species,
yeah,
They're not inherently
I guess
bad.
we don't ever see that they're bad in the original trilogy. The only time we see one is in Mos Eisley, and he just looks at the camera and looks evil. But
I mean, it is the most wretched hive of villainy and scum. So.
Yeah, but I mean, I hang out at dive bars.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I'm not that bad.
Not the most wretched, but yeah, they do. I get
medium wretched.
I'm wretched light. I do agree with you that like if you looked at these guys, you're like, oh, they're in on it, aren't they?
Yeah,
they're trying.
That's
to set
actually.
me
I
up.
remember when we saw that scene. I remember thinking that when I saw it in the theaters, like Obi-Wan's kind of talking to him. And he's like, "Hey, we're being held captive."
Like, sure.
And I was like, "Okay."
Oh, in that scene, I like because they turn like Obi-Wan's like, "Cool, I'm gonna handle it. If you do have any warriors, this is the time to bring them." And they start to walk away, and one of the other Powans is like, "Did he say he's bringing other soldiers?" It's like,
"Oh
he
yeah."
didn't
And
say.
Bruce Spence is like,
I don't know. He didn't say. I hope so, but he do bring the ruckus.
But when he takes out Grievous because he's hanging off the edge. He lost his lightsaber. What does he just use force powers to crush his shit?
No, he brings the blaster to him.
Oh, that's right. That's
he force pulls the blaster.
That's right.
And shoots him once in the heart.
Because it leads to a really fun line.
And then he just starts, like, he lights that heart up. And Grievous just, like, all of his internal organs.
He had peeled open Grievous's metal connection over his, like, life sack.
Yes, his life sack.
I mean, he's got a heart and lungs, sure, but there's a green glowing sack I'm going to call his life sack.
Yeah, it's a membrane. Yeah, it's a life sack. But yeah, he lights it up and tosses the pistol aside and says,
very uncivilized.
So uncivilized.
Which is a reference back to episode 4 when he's talking to Luke about the blasters and stuff, and he gives him
the lightsaber,
and he says a more civilized or a more elegant weapon from a more civilized age. But he blasts his little sack and like, and much like if you blasted my sack, fire starts shooting out of his eyes, and he is just screaming. I mean, it's obviously that's his weak point, you know.
Yeah.
Like, that's what flashes red when you hit it.
Because during the fight, he goes to like kick his leg, and he's like, "Oh God!" Like you just kicked metal.
Yeah, at one point, Grievous just kicks Obi-Wan in the shin.
Well, yes, but also when Obi-Wan's on the ground, he's like, "I'm gonna sweep the leg."
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah.
He's trying to sweep his leg.
He's trying to sweep the leg because there is no robots in this dojo.
I just remember I remember seeing Obi-Wan just grabbing his shin like, "Oh fuck!"
Yeah, it's because he went to go kick and was like, "Oh, bad idea."
I haven't done that since I quit drinking.
But yeah, Grievous is out of here, man.
And so the Jedis, Mace Windu and other Jedis who are supposed to be like great.
The only one I know by
fighters.
name is Kit Fisto. And so all of these guys are accomplished duelists. They're not just some fucking punk ass Jedis. It's supposed to show you that Sidious is that fucking good. 2 things he does. 1, he moves lightning fast. Whether it shows it well or not, he is lightning bolting across this room.
You know what? I don't think it showed it well, but I will say I appreciate that George Lucas didn't do any of that sped up bullshit that he did in episode 2.
It would have looked bad.
Yeah, where like the Obi-Wan and Anakin like zip zapped, or no, it was Qui-Gon and
when the
Obi-Wan.
Jordicas got there. Yeah,
they zip zapped off the screen and zip zapped to the other side.
It's too zip.
Yeah,
like you can speed it up a little bit. It's like yow.
Yeah, no, they're moving like they're in True Blood.
But the second thing that he does is the Force scream. You hear him do like a. That is something from the lore that disorients and discombobulates.
Okay, because I remember hearing it and I was like, yo, that old man just gave me a fucking weird ass howl.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what that was.
That's a Sith roar, Force scream, whatever you want to call it.
Again, bringing back Dune, right?
Yeah.
The voice, except for he's not giving them commands, but it's like, I use this and it disorients you.
Everything's fucking Dune to you.
Well, I just watched Dune
I know it's
twice,
fresh in the brain.
but also this is Dune.
I mean, George has always borrowed and, tried to pay homage to a lot of things. Dune being a big one. Obviously, Flash Gordon, the Lensman.
I had a friend share a meme to me recently that said, Dune is just Star Wars for people who listen to Tool.
I get it.
And I was like, I don't disagree. But also, George Lucas stole a lot of Star Wars from Dune.
Borrowed.
So that would make Star Wars Dune for people who like Carlos Mencia.
No, Star Wars is Dune for people that like Chumbawamba. Because who doesn't like Chumbawamba?
Well, I was just thinking Carlos Mencia stole all his jokes.
That's
so.
true. Oh, I do want to say.
But he straight up stole. Dude, George Lucas does admit.
Yes, he does. No, he's never turned, never said he didn't take that or borrow it or get inspired by. I do want to say that at this point, this is the first scene to have all colors of lightsaber on screen. Because you have green and blue.
Yeah.
You got Mace's purple and red. These are the only ones that existed at this point.
Yeah, because I was going to say, there's like yellow and white later, right?
Yes. There's yellow, there's orange, there is...
Does Ahsoka have white in the cartoon, or is that just in the show?
That's later in the show. I think we see her get them in the cartoon.
Okay.
Because she has to purify bled kyber crystals.
Okay, I couldn't remember, because I have watched some of the cartoon,
but
I've seen the show more recently.
If we see it, it's going to be at the very end of either that or the renewed Clone Wars.
I will say, by the way, I mean, the dark saber is cool, but those white lightsabers are fucking sick.
Dope. And especially what they represent. Like, she is now, I guess, the closest we're going to get to a gray Jedi. You know, she doesn't have to do the dogma of the Jedi. She can just do the Force. She doesn't have to adhere to a guideline. She can take a lover if she wants.
So, like, you have the green and blue, which we know that the green was from, or the green was from, like, the sand didn't show
Return of the Jedi. Right.
But, like, in universe, all the Jedi have green and blue. I like Mace just showing up with the purple, and some other Jedi being like, they told me I could choose green or blue.
Yeah.
What the fuck is
Well,
this?
so the purple represents someone that is in control of their dark side.
Okay.
Which makes perfect sense for Samuel L. Jackson's character because he is angry entire time.
He's giving a lot more of that in this movie than he has before this at all.
Yes, this makes sense.
I mean, he's barely in the previous two movies.
Right.
But in this one, and he's still barely in this too, but he's in it a lot more.
But at least he's got a duel.
But
like,
he's got
lines.
the looks like when Anakin is telling him, like, oh, I'm going to go talk to the Chancellor a little while ago before they find out about him being evil. He's like, yeah, I'll go do this, whatever. And then when he walks away, Mace gives him this look like, motherfucker.
This motherfucker right here.
Yeah.
Say Sith again. Say Sith again. Does he look like a Sith Lord? I love this fight, by the way, because Palpatine disposes of everybody except Mace.
Well, he takes out the first
fast.
two in like a swipe.
Yeah.
And then the other guy lasts slightly longer.
Just a bit.
He's the guy with the weird goggle eyes.
Not Kit Fisto.
Is that Kit Fisto? He's
Plo
got like
Koon is the goggle eyes, and he's not here. He's Order 66.
Well, one of these guys has like big black eyes, and I think he has like the Twilight kind of tentacles.
That's
but
the fish.
Not.
That's Kit Fisto.
Okay, he lasts a little longer.
Yeah.
But then it's Sam Jackson and Palpatine with a really good fight.
I'm going to now recommend a book to everybody that likes Mace Windu. It's called Shatterpoint. I think it's still canon, but
if
it talks about
Mace Windu. It's got to be.
This
most of what they wiped out was prequels.
Right. They got rid of some. I just don't know what. But Mace Windu is probably one of the only people that Sidious couldn't have beaten because he has something called Shatterpoint, where he can use the Force to focus on your weakness. He can see it. He can focus on it. It does his lightsaber form you can't do unless you've been a little tapped into the dark side.
Well, and Mace Windu doesn't beat Palpatine, really.
He does.
Palpatine doesn't beat Mace Windu, really, in this fight.
Yeah.
Without
That's
the
what I'm
help
saying.
of
This is the
Anakin,
only person, like, if it wasn't for Anakin helping, this is game over.
Yeah.
Mace Windu's going to fucking murk you.
Dude, and it's great because, the guy, I don't know the actor's name off the top of my head.
Ian McDermott?
Ian McDermott, thank you. Ian McDermott does a really good job
He's
here. Like
fucking
he's
fantastic.
hamming it up in a lot of scenes, but here he does a good job when the tables get turned, the window is taken out.
I'm weak, Anakin.
Well, even before Anakin shows up, like this window gets taken out, which, by the way, one lightsaber swipe takes out this 97-foot long window, like the whole thing. I don't know about that. But
I'm going to just go ahead and say it was because these two very strong Force users clashed, and it was like, bam.
All right.
Also, it looks cool.
Yeah. It does look cool.
Like, we're back to George Lucas. Like, I just want it to look cool.
Exactly. But, like, when they're fighting in this open window and Palpatine's hair is flowing in the wind, but Mace Windu doesn't have any, so he looks stronger. Like, it makes Palpatine look weaker, right?
It does. It does. Like old man wispy hair.
He corners him, and he kicks his lightsaber out of the building, and Ian McDermott's doing a great job of just being like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, I did all these machinations and all this stuff, and it led up to this fight, and I done fucked up.
This is something he actually did not plan for. Like, I mean, maybe he did plan on, like, all right, dude, here it is. If Anakin doesn't save me, my plan is done, and I tried.
Yeah.
But also, at this point, I think I'm trying to go back in my head. At this point, I think he's already doing Operation Necromancer, because the Bad Batch takes place a little bit after this, not too long after this, Well, season 3 does, and they're well into Operation Necromancer.
Which is
So Operation Necromancer is talked about in one of the seasons of Mandalorian. It is what it's them trying to explain somehow Palpatine returned. They are putting science to it. He uses strand casting, which is taking DNA from A, B, and C and putting them in one body, which is how we get Snoke.
Okay.
Snoke is a strand cast.
Okay.
What he was trying to do is create a body he could be put into.
Okay, so this is where the clones come from, but they don't have his.
The clones are just genetic templates of Jango with enhancements and speed.
I meant the Emperor clones.
Yes.
Episode
Emperor
9.
clones come from Operation Necromancer. They weren't super successful, which I'm thinking means that they didn't get enough Grogu blood.
One of the few things I do remember from episode 9, aside from somehow and we have to follow a wayfinder to get a wayfinder to get a wayfinder is
MacGuffins.
Wayfinder is just a Star Wars word for MacGuffin, right?
Uh-huh.
But the only thing I really remember is when they get to the place where they
Exegol.
made him, like the lab itself.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of tubes of like failed clons that kind of look like Snoke.
That's it.
So so that's Operation Necromancer.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yes, that's just what they called it. I think Giancarlo Esposito says it in Mandalorian, and somebody else says it.
Okay.
Like, how's it going with Operation Necromancer? It's a throwaway line if you don't dig deeper.
We'll get to those.
Yes, we will.
But I'm really now hoping that at some point Werner Herzog says that, because just his voice saying Operation Necromancer.
Operation Necromancer.
I can't
want
do
to
a
see
great
the
one,
baby.
But like,
I can't do a great one either. It's the most nefarious
Operation
German.
Necromancer.
Yeah.
Like, he's got such a haunting voice.
He
I
does.
watched a documentary he made recently because he's a big director. He's not a
Yes.
huge actor, which is why I love that he showed up. He's acted, of course, but I watched a documentary that he did recently, and it was about like just after the Gulf War and like the burning oil fields and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's some pretty haunting footage or whatever, but just his narration over it, just being like, and the flames engulf the dead. And he's doing like this poetic narration, and I'm just like, oh man, your voice makes this so much more tragic.
I mean, I could listen to him do a documentary about clocks.
And then the hour struck midnight.
Oh man, you know what would have been better in March of the Penguins than Morgan Freeman?
She has chosen a mate.
The father penguin carries the eggs on his feet.
Again, neither of us are doing a good one, but just imagine the most nefarious German you could think of.
And it's like a hauntingly sympathetic, nefarious German. If those words go together.
Yeah, they
in
don't,
any way.
but you just put them together.
But this is where we get Melty Palpatine. This is when he turns into the Emperor that we know.
And I love that, like you said, sometimes he's ham, but he's giving his all.
Yeah.
Like, Ian McDermott is not just collecting a paycheck. Like, he's doing the, oh, Annie, I'm too weak, I can't stop it, while he's shocking himself, really.
I think he's giving a better performance as the Emperor than as the Chancellor.
Uh-huh.
Because, I mean, and
He's kind of handcuffed as a Chancellor, I would say.
And I've heard other people say that it's much more fun. Not to bring up Dune again, but I'm bringing up Dune again. Stellan Skarsgård, playing Baron Harkonnen, in that he said, "I love playing a villain because you just have to go in and act with no sympathy, and it's so much easier."
Gary Oldman, Air Force One, same thing.
Yeah,
like he loved it.
It's a great way to get a good actor to give a really good performance, because they just go in and they're like, oh, I don't give a fuck about anyone or anything. Got this.
But he found his voice when he's like, he will stand trial. He's all, no, I am the Senate.
Yeah.
Like, he's found his voice for this Emperor, and it fluctuates. We've seen it a couple of times where, like we said earlier, like the good, do it. Yeah. And he's so fucking good at this.
And so he's force lightninging.
Yep, that's the proper verbiage.
Mace Windu, who uses his lightsaber to block it, and is going back at Palpatine.
Oh, real quick, sorry, I wanted to bring this up. Blink and you miss it. He's using the wrong lightsaber. Palpatine is at one point. He's using Anakin's lightsaber because the drop plot point where Anakin was going to be there earlier. Like when he first started fighting the 4 Jedi. So if you look, it's real quick, because Palpatine's lightsabers are gaudy. They are gold. They're made from materials that Jedi would never use. They're very expensive and ornate and flashy.
Okay.
So he's
like
doing
a
this
cartel guy.
solid gold fucking gun, you know. He's doing everything he can to shove shove things down the Jedi throat. Look at my Sith artifacts. Look at my dope gaudy lightsabers that cost more than your whole temple.
Okay. And I mean, by the time they see the lightsabers, they know.
Yeah. Yeah, well, as soon as you got a fucking sleeve lightsaber, like, I don't think he's a good guy, dude.
Wait, so is it Sleeve Palpatine?
Sleeve Palpatine.
Yeah, and you mentioned that these statues in his office are supposed to be like Sith artifacts. The fuck?
I mean, if
is
you
there
don't,
not a historian on the Jedi
if you don't
Council?
study, you don't know. I mean, we got Jocasta Nuo. What the hell's her name? Jocasta. Anyway, the librarian. The Jedi librarian, she's not there, but she's probably also only studying. This is a downfall of the Jedi. You only study your shit. And that's kind of what Palpatine's saying. He's like, if you want to know the Force, you got to look at both sides. Yeah. And the Jedi don't do that. And which is, he's correct. You know, you don't have to worship the dark side, but if any of you motherfuckers studied, you'd be like, look at all these Sith statues.
Yeah.
He's playing a Sith version of Pong right now. Fucking arrest him.
The ball is red.
The ball's red. The paddles are red. That is a youngling's head instead of a ball, dude.
Look at that little Grogu head.
How did nobody see this? But yeah, I got to gush about him, and I enjoy him.
But this is where he melts into the Emperor that we know. And I mentioned to you, I'm like, well, it's interesting because, and you had a point, but it's interesting because he melts down from his own Force lightning.
Yeah.
But when Anakin interrupts and he's able to hit Mace Windu with it, Sam Jackson doesn't change. Yeah. But he is doing this whole thing like, I'm so weak. Help me.
It's been a hard day to pig shit farm.
And when Anakin does help him, then all of a sudden he's like, gotcha, bitch, I'm not weak.
Unlimited power. Love that fucking line.
Space.
Yeah, got that from the genie. But yeah, so like it is partial him shocking himself to look ugly, but it's also him not having the power to hold back his evil. So he's been doing Force Botox.
Yeah, I had
time.
mentioned this to you because in his holograms he's more wrinkled and decrepit looking. And then in person he's just wrinkly. He's an old man, but he's not nearly as wrinkly. So that's what I had said to you. I was like, is he doing Force Botox? And I guess, yeah, he's using it to hold an image. He 100% is.
And I think that's also why Dooku doesn't have the yellow eyes. It's part that he thinks he's not evil, but it's also part like, well, I need to not have yellow eyes because anybody with yellow eyes is evil.
It's also part Christopher Lee was like, nah.
I ain't doing that, man.
I'm not putting in those fucking
not
contacts.
Wearing these stupid contacts. Christopher Lee, I stabbed Nazis.
You didn't make Cushing wear contacts? What the fuck?
Cushing didn't do it. I'm out. That's a no for me, dog.
But so Sam Jackson gets taken out, and there was a thing I had read about how basically Jackson told Lucas, like, look, I know I got to die in this movie, but I'm not going out like no punk bitch.
Yeah, and he did not.
And so he gets a full-on, he does not give in, he does not stop. He gets taken out because he's overpowered by two people.
Anakin cuts off the arm, and then fucking unlimited power.
Another fucking arm.
We love getting rid of arms in this
prequel
franchise.
Trilogy. That's the fourth arm that has been cut off of a Jedi or Sith.
Yeah.
You know what? I guess Grievous isn't Sith, but he got two of his cut off too. So we're up to 6.
3, I think. You at one point, coming up later, we see a body scorched in the temple, and it just has no arms. Like, we are just cutting off everything.
Yeah, people just love cutting off arms.
Yeah, it's cool. And now we get to the quick transition, though, which I'm kind of not happy for. Instantly, he's like, cool, you did everything I needed you to. Go ahead and kneel. You are now Lord Vader.
You are Darth?
You are Darth, yeah.
I don't know, man.
Let me see.
Vader.
No, not Vader.
Hold on. Padme is pregnant? Pregnant? Fuck me. Let me try that again. Hold on. Padme is pregnant? Vader. That means father, right? You're
father.
Darth Vader.
Yes, that's it. The Darth Father.
You're the Dark Father.
Yeah, but it gets quick because he's like I understand betraying Mace Windu, thinking you have to save the Emperor to A, save the Republic because he believes that he really does, and B, I need to save the Emperor, the Sidious, so I can learn how to stop Padme from dying. But now he's like, all right, go kill them younglings. And without even blinking, he's like, you got it, dude.
I mean, if someone asked me to kill a room full of children, no, I'm just kidding.
You're already ready to.
It is funny, though, with Vader meaning father. We kind of joked about this. It's like, that's George Lucas going, well, see, man, I always knew he'd be his father.
The whole time.
I definitely knew from the beginning.
Planned it.
You did not.
No, you didn't, George.
You liar.
Listen, motherfucker, I have $4 billion. I'll fucking buy your family. I'll buy them and sell them into slavery because Star Wars loves slavery.
I'm not pro-slavery, but this galaxy is, so deal with it.
Well, buy and sell your family, you fucking quat. And that's a Star Wars word. You quat.
You fucking sleemo. Banta poodoo.
But yeah, then that's when we get the order of execute
66.
Order 66.
So before the Clone Wars, this was just the troopers following orders. It was just like, hey, I'm the Emperor. We're the ones that made you. Your whole thing was to kill these Jedi.
And that's very confusing to me because, like, I understand that they're clones and they were made to listen. Like, that is what they were bred to do.
Yeah.
But if they're just like if your president just suddenly says, all right, just any president, no specific one.
This is a generic impersonation of a president. Go ahead.
Turn around and kill all your generals. Like, are you just gonna do it?
So okay, so yes, that's what was posed. Ayla, the sexy blue Twi'lek Jedi. Did you notice that when they shot her, they kept shooting? Because she had done something off screen, obviously, EU. She had done something that these clones respected. So when they had to do Order 66 on her, they felt very bad. And they said, we got to make it a quick death. She cannot suffer. So they just obliterated her. Now, enter the cartoon. The cartoon says, nope, it was inhibitor chips, control chips, that they had no choice. It was so the cartoon poses like they are good clones. They're all individually really good people that love the Jedi serve with, and then switch got flipped, and you have to kill that Jedi.
And
like,
I mean, even though that's retcon, it makes kind of makes sense because every time we see the Order arriving, they have almost, I think it's the exact same line from every clone trooper that's just like, it'll be done or whatever.
And now instantly they're calling him Lord, which the pre-cartoon would pose that they knew he was going to do this the entire time.
Yeah.
And that makes it not fun. It makes you give no shits about the clones. It makes you feel, so when Filoni was like, we're going to make a cartoon about the Clone Wars, we have to humanize them. We can't make this be their choice to kill people. It was
where this cartoon ends with them killing all their friends.
Yeah. So when Filoni retcons things, I am 95% on board because he knows what he's doing.
Well, because like in this case too, even without the cartoon existing, we know that at the end of episode 2, the Clone Wars began.
Yeah.
And this is where they end. However long it's been in between, they've all been fighting together.
Yeah.
So like there's got to be some level of sympathy.
Absolutely. I mean, I mentioned a couple names earlier, which is why I love the cartoon because they humanize these characters very much where they're not just numbers. They have names, they have personalities, they have different tattoos or armor, like they are individual, and you get to know some of them. Rex, Wolf, and Gregor are the biggest ones. Cody's a big one too. Fuck. And we actually meet Commander Cody. He's the one that gives Obi-Wan his lightsaber back. Right before
so
he
he's
tries
the one
to,
that fell in front of.
Yeah, like right before you try to kill him too. He's like, "Here's your lightsaber, Order 66." Damn it, you're like 3 seconds too late because now he has his fucking lightsaber, bro. This is what we coordinate. Come on, Sheev.
This galactic Wi-Fi is trash.
There's a delay. I don't know what you want to tell you.
We do have a scene of Yoda like clutching his chest with the Wookiees. Now he's with Chewbacca.
We don't see his Chewbacca yet, just his legs and the bottom of his bandolier, but I recognize that Peter Mayhew stance anywhere.
And he's clutching his chest like very much Alec
Obi-Wan
Guinness.
Kenobi and for Alderaan blowing up. Yeah. It's like a million voices
cried out. Yeah.
Suddenly silenced.
And then, he sends Anakin to kill a bunch of kids. And that little kid, they were like, all right, who's the cutest one of the group? Who's the most adorable little kid?
And
he's
he
like,
does the best.
What should we do, Master Anakin?
And when fucking Anakin ignites his lightsaber, this kid's reaction is excellent. He's a little kid. He's a little kid actor, and he like recoils and like flinches. It's awesome.
It would have been better if it was like the meme. Pocket sand.
Yeah, I got pocket sand.
I hate sand.
So I did mean to bring it up when we went there, but fucking Mace Windu utters the exact same line that Palpatine does for Dooku. He's like, he's too dangerous to be left alive.
Okay.
And I think that's why Anakin's like, that's not our way.
Yeah, that's not our way. I'll kill you instead.
Yeah, no, I'll fuck you up. But I just want to bring that back because I did say hold for that line, and then I forgot to bring it up.
And then we're introduced, I think this is when we first see Mustafar, right?
Yes.
Or maybe we had a glimpse of it before.
Mustafar, and you can tell me, Mustafar came from...
From IMDb trivia that I read, it's George Lucas's idea of what hell would look like.
And that's what I've heard as well. And it's pretty hellish. I mean, it's lava.
I mean,
it's
you said it was a Ralph McQuarrie design, but that
off
would still
of Lucas's.
come from Stone Couch Lucas. All right, man. So there's a bunch of volcanoes and shit, right? And there's little robots that take buckets of lava. Why are they taking buckets of lava, George? I don't know, man.
They gotta take him somewhere else.
And then there's like these big robots, and they also take buckets of lava. What is the lava for? No one cares, dude. Just draw the fucking picture, Ralph.
And I want to know, like, there's probably a book out there that'll tell you exactly what the fuck they're doing in Mustafar, like mining this shit.
Because these guys are just like harvesting lava. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay.
Sure. Have fun. It does make for a dope scene. And Mustafar, if you don't know, is going to end up being Vader's castle
Yes.
by order of Sidious.
So there's this VR game I played. It's called Vader Immortal.
Okay.
And it's a series of games. They're very short. Like, I played the first part, and I want to say, I mean, it's probably 30, 40 minutes at most. It's mostly like an interactive kind of design thing, not so much like a full-on game. But you're basically, I don't remember if you're supposed to be a Jedi or what it is, but you're inside of, you get put into Vader's castle, and you're trying to get out.
Okay, that's
stealthily.
dope.
But while you're getting out, you're going through like, wall passages and vents and stuff, and you see scenes happening outside the vents. So you'll see Vader talking to people and stuff, but it's in this castle.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's fucking sick. Cause there's a point where you're out on like a ledge going around the edge of the castle, and there's just lava down below you. And then you got like windows behind you. So you have to like stop and like get around the people. It's pretty sick. And it's a really immersive version of this.
Yeah.
And I mean, I forgot that's where it was taking place until we were watching this today, because you see the castle from the distance with like it has like the pillars on the side. They have, like,
I mean,
really
this isn't
tall
quite
windows.
a castle yet. This right now is just the complex.
Well, at least the base complex part where there's like, it's the really tall like entrance, like hallway kind of part.
Yeah.
And it's got the really tall windows that are very narrow and like black pillars in between. That part plays heavily into at least chapter 1 of the Vader Immortal game.
We'll see his actual castle more in not only Obi-Wan the very end, but also in Rogue One coming up.
Okay.
Rogue One has Mustafar. Krennic goes there to talk to him, and it's awesome. It's kind of a dick move because it's Palpatine's idea. He's like, that's your castle now, because it's his biggest defeat. It's his biggest humiliation.
Yeah, you get to live where you almost died.
I don't know if he did this on
I guess
purpose
it's where he
or
was
not.
born.
It's where he's born, but okay. So being angry and being upset makes you a good Sith, right? Being pissed off. You know what doesn't make for being a good Sith is being depressed. And that is what Vader is his entire fucking time, which is why he's at a fraction of his power that he should be.
Well, in the original movies, and obviously none of this was conceived of. Yes, it was, man.
I started it on my couch. I thought the whole thing out.
I knew the whole story, bro. None of this was conceived of, but Vader is like brutal and ruthless and mean.
Yeah.
In the original trilogy, and in this, I mean, obviously mostly it's Anakin, but once we do see him as Vader, he's just a sad boy.
Yeah, he is. And that's something that other writers have taken to a much higher degree. Like the Emperor's plan was to like just fucking milk his strength. Like, dude, I'm going to ride the fucking coattails of this super powerful guy. Emperor's not more powerful than him. He's much more manipulative and in charge.
He even says that in this, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He'll be stronger than any of us.
He'll be stronger than all of us.
Yeah.
But now it kind of worked out well for him because he's a neutered version. Just imagine having some big fucking giant bruiser that's like, I don't really want to take over the galaxy anymore. Everyone I love is dead. Like that chamber in number, I think it's 5, we see him in his like meditation chamber.
Yeah.
Which is the only place he can be out of his suit. All he does is look at images of Padme. He keeps depressed. He shouldn't, like, depression is the worst thing for a Sith. He should be angry and passionate.
So this has all been Palpatine's machinations.
Yes.
He was not counting on the children being born, though, right?
No, he was not. He was not counting them being born, and he didn't even know there were 2. He didn't know there was any. Like, if you go back and even look at 4 and 5, he's shocked. Like, he doesn't say, like, oh, this is your offspring. When he does say this must be the child of Skywalker, Vader's like, how can that be? Like, they're both surprised, like, oh shit, that baby was born?
Yeah, and I know he lies to Vader at the end of this one, but like, I was just wondering if it's like he didn't. So that's what throws a wrench into the works.
Yes.
Right?
Luke is not the chosen one, but he is the catalyst for turning Anakin into the chosen one. You can debate all you want if Luke is the chosen one, but Lucas has come out and said Anakin has and always will be the chosen one. He's the one that destroys the Sith. It's because of Luke, but Luke didn't do it. Luke just gave him that push.
Luke wouldn't have had the life he had to lead him to where he was if Anakin hadn't gone through what he went through.
Yeah.
Etc.
And now we're getting to the best lightsaber duel, I think, on screen for the movies.
I will say real quick, I guess Vader now, not Anakin, even though he's not in the suit, but he has been dubbed Vader.
Yeah.
He murders the shit out of those fucking Trade Federation guys.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I love it.
Which, like you said, how'd you not recognize him? Like,
yeah, they're like, oh, Lord Vader, we've been expecting you. And he just closes all the doors and cuts everyone in half.
Dude, I'm going to tell you right now, if a guy with yellow eyes and a hood over his fucking head comes in, you run.
He didn't give him time. He shut the doors.
It's true. That's true.
You can't open a door.
You can't open a door. You can't smash the opening locking mechanism. It just opens up for you.
Even though they literally do that at the beginning of this movie to close doors.
Every movie does that.
And so while all that's going on, before we get to the duel, I think it's all concurrent, but this is one of the things that drives me the craziest about the whole opening trilogy, or the whole prequel trilogy, especially 1 and 3, which have these great battles, is like we have a great battle that keeps getting interrupted with boring shit.
Stop it. Let me see just these two dudes fight.
Yeah.
Oh, and I should say, there is Obi-Wan hitches a ride on Padme's ship, which turns Anakin like, wait, what? Because there's a drop plot line this entire time that Anakin thinks that these two are having an affair.
Because he does kind of say that at the beginning of this. He's like, you're with him?
You kind of get remnants of it.
But then it turns quickly into, you brought him here to defeat me or whatever.
But there is a part of this movie where he's worried that those two are fucking. And maybe George Lucas had that. Maybe fucking Skywalker's actually a Kenobi.
I mean, if I had to have sex with Hayden Christensen or Ewan McGregor.
Not even a question. I'd be like, hey, do me a favor. Look me in the eyes before you come and say hello there.
Call me Anakin.
You want to role play? Get some sand.
I hate sand. I know. He goes Sith. He goes Sith when he's role playing.
Yeah, who doesn't?
Before she gets there, she's at the Senate meeting. Because that's what I wanted to bring up. Is they're at the Senate meeting, this emergency meeting that Palpatine has called, and now he's all evil looking with a hood, and no one seems to question it.
But he tries to explain it. He's like, the attack on me has left me scarred.
There was an attempt on my life.
But I promise you, my resolve has never been stronger.
Yeah, false flag shit all over the place. Like
he's using sizzle words, dude. He's like, for a more secure society.
Yeah, he's like, we will be. He doesn't say I will be the emperor. He says we will form the first galactic empire. And everybody just fucking lights up. And cheers.
Natalie Portman has a great line. She's like, so this is how liberty dies, with thunderous applause.
Yep.
Like, yeah, that's how it happens in real life too.
That's how it's happened multiple times.
Go watch fucking Mussolini speak, dude. Go watch fucking Hitler speak.
I was going to say, you go back to World War II. He was voted in. People loved him. And then he's like, now I'm going to do this. And they're like, what?
Too late to say no.
Yeah,
we'll kill you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Scarlett Johansson doesn't like it.
No, God, no.
That's a different movie.
Great movie.
Also with a New Zealander.
It's true. Hitler clones, dude.
Oh, no. Somehow Hitler returned.
But he returned as a fucking Taika Waititi, so it's okay.
Yoda says, has a quick line here, and I didn't get it exactly, but he mentions to Obi-Wan, he says Darth Vader.
Yes.
And I was Googling.
Because they watched the videotape of, not to explain, but they watched a videotape of now Vader slaughtering younglings.
Yeah,
but that,
as far as I saw, that's all that's in that holotape or whatever. And
so if there's not a cut scene of them watching Palpatine dub him Lord Vader, Yoda should not know his fucking name.
Also, can you do that with lightsabers? I dubbed there goes your arm.
You can, just be careful.
This is the Star Wars universe. We like cutting off arms. I dubbed the Lord No Arms.
Oops, sorry. A little hungover today. We do see it in Star Wars Rebels. Kanan Jarrus gets knighted with an actual lightsaber.
Gotta be careful. Be sober.
Yeah.
And not hungover.
He's shaking.
You know what? Maybe don't be sober. Depends on if you get the DTs or not. Like,
yeah, I might have to take a couple shots just to be steady.
But that was kind of dropped and it's never really brought up. And I was Googling while we were watching, how did Yoda know the name Vader? But everything I could find was about people being like, well, how do you know the name Darth Sidious? I'm like, well, that was in episode 2.
Darth Sidious is
That's
said.
easy.
Yeah, we've heard that said.
But how did he get the name Vader? I don't know. It's fine.
Yeah, it is fine, but it's also like, come on, guy.
I mean, it's also literally cut back to ship Obi-Wan and Yoda, and Yoda's like something Darth Vader, cut back to action.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense.
It does leave one's head scratching, and I have another head scratcher that might explain something coming up with a death.
Also, Vader never mentions Yoda in the original trilogy. Like
As far as
almost as if he doesn't know he exists.
He probably doesn't know
He
he's
talks a lot
alive.
about Obi-Wan.
He probably doesn't know he's alive.
Okay, maybe.
And he had less interaction with him. Like, yes, he did have interaction. We talked about earlier how Yoda has the best perspective on attachment because Anakin goes to him.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you say less interaction, but they have a whole scene in that weird CG dark room.
Sure, but him and Obi-Wan are brothers.
Yeah.
I mean, like, of course you would have that stick with you. He didn't duel with Yoda.
Maybe his mental faculties aren't 100% there with the whole being melted and half robot thing.
There was I think it's Boston University. Some psychologist did a study and was like, dude, he's got borderline personality disorder. Like,
I actually read that last night when I was researching for this.
And it makes so much fucking sense. He's got attachment issues. He's got abandonment issues. He's got delusions of grandeur. But yeah, so I mean, it would make sense why he's so hyper fixated on Obi-Wan. He's like, you were my brother. And you are the reason that now my wife is gone. Even though I'm the one that did it. I force choked her. Yeah. Which that's not why she died. But yeah, like that's why he's hyper fixated on Obi-Wan's like, I'm gonna fucking kill this dude.
No, why she died is way dumber.
No, not when I tell you.
Oh, okay. We'll get there momentarily.
We're right there. Because we can't describe this duel.
No, but I do want to talk about the duel because first of all, the music, because we only mentioned John Williams at the beginning. John Williams sells
Bring in the heat.
John Williams sells this nonology, I guess would be the correct terminology for it, right? But like the music he does, like episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, no matter what you think of him, good or bad, it would be much worse if it wasn't if John Williams wasn't doing the music. There would be no revival for this prequel trilogy where like now people are looking back going, well, it wasn't that bad.
Because no matter what, you can watch it and enjoy that.
Yeah, because the music sells. I mean, there's, like you said, there's scenes where people are walking in a hallway and you're just like, yeah, walk down that hallway.
Fuck yeah, dude, that shit's dope.
But this fight scene is fucking amazing. It's the best thing in the entire trilogy.
They trained for over 2 months with fitness and fencing. We're talking about, sorry, I want to give actor names. Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen. They trained for 2 months, and which is why this fight scene is not sped up at all.
No, and it seems like it could be because they're going so fast, but also it doesn't look like it is.
Right.
Like you can tell when stuff's been sped up. It's great. So I talked about when we did episode 1, I was super psyched, saw it in theaters. Episode 2, I didn't bother. I eventually watched it one day. I think at that point, by the time episode 3 came out, the only way I had finished episode 2 was by playing the Lego Star Wars game.
That's awesome.
It might have even been later. But I did see this in theaters because I went with a group of friends. And I remember all of us left and we were like, that was okay. But what the fuck at that end? Like that fight scene was insane. And this, I mentioned earlier, Spielberg came in to help punch up some stuff.
And this is where he punched the hardest.
And this is supposedly where he put most of his weight.
I mean, there's times when they're clashing lightsabers and the fucking lava is just like erupting right behind him at a perfect time.
And that could be really bad. It could be really stupid and cheesy, right?
Yeah,
when they go together, the way it's done, especially with everything being not 100% believable CG and stuff. But like, yeah, when they push into each other and their faces come in and the lava erupts, it's just something else. But when they are fighting at full speed, going up and down these hallways, it's fucking amazing.
It's great.
And that song, what did you say it was called? Just
it's called Anakin versus Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan.
But it has threads of Duel of Fates
and threads of the Imperial March.
Yeah.
Like it's showing him vadering up a bit. Something I'm a little disappointed we've never seen on camera is the bleeding of a lightsaber, right? Like to get red, you need to pour all your hate. I was hoping that we would see his lightsaber be like, I don't know, a pink hue, like light red.
Starting to turn
he's
during the
killed
battle.
younglings. He killed the fucking Trade Federation, and now he's fighting his brother.
I mean, killing the Trade Federation is not that bad, but like
you killed. You didn't bring him to justice. You murdered.
Yeah.
Out of hate and anger and passion.
Yeah,
split hairs,
dude.
dude.
But also killing children is probably the bigger.
Killing children should have. If that doesn't bleed your lightsaber,
it goes from blue to like blue with like a pink line,
like be purple.
But then he kills those kids, and it just goes full purple.
Like, dude, what is worse than killing youngling Jedi? Like, what if that doesn't bleed you? What does?
Not just youngling Jedi, because we do see. I guess he's still technically a youngling, although he's like, I guess he's a Padawan. I don't know. There's a kid later, a teenager.
That's Padawan. He's got the braid and everything.
Yeah, but these are children that are unarmed, defenseless, and they look to you as their mentor.
I mean, this is like the.
What are we gonna do, Master Anakin? You gonna die.
I guess we'll die then. Yeah, if that didn't bleed it, but I just it's something I want to see on screen, whether it be a cartoon or a movie. We hear about it, we know about it, but we've never seen anything bleed like that, and I want it.
But this battle is crazy. It goes for a very long time. If I remember right, when it came out, they were saying it was the longest lightsaber battle that had ever happened on screen.
It's also, by the way,
it's so interspersed.
It's also cut in with the fucking Yoda and Emperor thing, and I say that annoyingly because no one's there. When it's Yoda fighting Christopher Lee in episode 2, one person is there.
Yeah.
This is a CG of Sith robes fighting a CG Yoda. No one's there. You get close-up shots of Ian McDermott, but when they're on the Senate floor, it's 100% CG.
Yeah,
and it shows it. It's flat. I don't like it. Don't break up this actual practical fight with a CG fight for me.
And I mean, practical fight being that these two dudes are fighting with lightsabers. Everything else is they're still fighting in a big green room.
But we're not CGing the fighters.
No, and they're not doing, like later on in the fight when they're jumping from the platforms and stuff. This is 100% just them on flat ground fighting one another, which shows how evenly matched they are, which I guess makes a lot of sense with that final I've got the high ground.
Oh, by the way, we get to that. They fight, they change position. There's a lot of jumping from this to the other, escaping lava falls. And now Obi-Wan.
I did notice that I hadn't noticed before. I just have to say, and they make it obvious. It's one of those things I never registered because I was like, these big arms are always there. Why is this suddenly susceptible to lava? When they're fighting, they break the thing that takes
one
down
of them
the shields.
Slashes the computer and things start falling.
And as we know, if you slash a computer, shields go down.
Stuff stops working
because the shields go down on those big arm things, whatever they are.
It's a ray shield, bro. Ray shields.
And they end up out on one of those, and the lava kind of takes it out. And that's a really cool segment of them like fighting on this tower as it's like sinking into lava, and they're climbing up and they're continuing to fight. Very like
Spielbergian,
very like an Errol Flynn thing. It's like this sword fight, this beautiful sword fight continues on, even if you're like going up and down towers or whatever, like
climbing up the stairs, swing on chandeliers,
exactly.
Fighting
in this case, they're
sills.
climbing up a tower in lava, but in those it would be swinging across the chandelier, going upstairs.
And it's funny you mentioned that because the guys that did at least the original trilogy lightsaber things worked with Errol Flynn. Like this is they actually worked on Princess Bride, as we found out in our Patreon episode.
Yeah, on our Patreon for Bad Movies Worst People, which I'm only going to mention right now. Because you can get these episodes earlier if you subscribe to the Bad Movies Worst People Patreon, $3 a month, patreon.com/worstpeople. Go.
That's a nice segue. But yeah, like these guys that did the choreography worked with Errol Flynn. So I don't know if it's the same guys or people that just watch the original trilogy. It's like, yeah, we're going to keep that going. Because those are great sword fights. I mean, we're talking about original classic cinema.
Yeah, all-timer sword fights. I mean, when we did the Princess Bride for our Patreon feed, that was their inspiration, right? For the Mandy Patinkin and Carrie Elwes fight.
And that's what this is too. This is a swashbuckling fucking highfalutin adventure.
I mean, and this gets full on swashbuckling. So as this tower is going toward the lava fall, I guess. It's not water.
It wouldn't be, boo.
Obi-Wan grabs this cable and swings across, and Anakin grabs another one. So they're swinging past each other, sword fighting. I mean, this is straight up pirate shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad it lasted as little as it did because it's cool to see, but we don't need to keep him like one swing is enough. We don't need to see him keep
Obi-Wan
going back
one way and the other way, and then he bails and gets onto that floating platform, and Anakin almost goes over.
Yeah,
and he gets onto that much smaller. It's not a platform; it's a little droid. It's a little dude's got eyes and a bucket.
Dude, like what the fuck?
When
are we
Obi-Wan
doing
jumps
here?
on him, and I guess maybe I'm putting this in because it's a droid that doesn't have a face; he just has eyes. But to me, it was like a look of like, the fuck is this thing on my back?
That's what I got too. Like, I guess
because he starts dipping into the lava and he's like, whoa.
Hey, easy, fella, easy.
Because you can see the shields on the bottom of all these platforms because they're glowing because they're fighting against the heat of the lava. And it gets a little less exciting here. I mean, there's some good back and forth, but it is two platforms moving across each other.
This is the worst of the duel. It's still good, but it's
kind
the
of
worst
like
of the
shields in episode 1, where it breaks up.
We're gonna slow it down
so they
real
can
quick.
Talk to each other.
Yeah.
Obviously, in episode 1, there wasn't much talking because Maul didn't really talk.
He had 3 lines.
And the guy was Peter Serafinowicz was paid to do those 3 lines.
Hey, get paid, buddy.
Apparently, he did a bunch more lines. I think we might have talked about that.
Yeah, that's why Benicio left. Yeah,
but it goes back and forth, like, and they stop and they talk shit to each other. But then even once they get up to each other towards the end, they're just in each other's face. Like, this is a UFC promo picture of a fight. Like,
and I love this scene because now Obi-Wan is on land and he's like, dude, look, I have the high ground. Don't try it. And Anakin is like, you underestimate my power. Guess what, though? This is the move. The move that Anakin tries is the move that Anakin succeeded with against Darth Maul. So he knew exactly what he was going to do. He caught Darth Maul by surprise.
But that move didn't involve incredibly hot lava.
True.
Because I think that the problem is once he lands, the ground is just...
Well, the problem is that when he landed, he had no legs and one arm. That's the biggest problem, Derek.
That's right, because he cuts him.
Yeah, because he knew exactly what he was going to do. He's like, I did that move with success. Watch this. Burp, burp, burp. You got no legs and one arm now. And the one arm you do have,
you know what?
is
the Black
robotic.
Knight didn't seem to have a problem.
It is a flesh wound. I've had worse.
I'll bite your legs off.
I've had worse. No, you haven't. And we get Obi-Wan's heart-wrenching, gut-wrenching speech of like, you were my brother. I fucking loved you.
And this is right after Anakin screams like, I hate you. And his eyes are full yellow.
He's catching
and
fire.
He looks like he's wearing fucking Alice Cooper makeup.
Yeah. Which I gotta say, like, this is brutal because like the whole thing is Obi-Wan does not want to kill him. He can't bring himself to kill him. So he'd rather him leave him for dead, burning to death. Well, dude, I'm sorry, Derek. If you and I have to duel to the death and you have a lightsaber and you've got me like this, put that lightsaber to my fucking temple, ignite it, and walk away.
Yeah,
put
I mean,
me
I
out of my
agree with
stinking
you.
misery.
I think what it comes down to isn't just the I don't want to kill my friend thread, but it's what we had earlier with Dooku and Anakin, where he's like, but this isn't the Jedi way. He's an unarmed combatant.
He's unarmed because you cut them off. You've already expressed some violence.
He's only got one robot arm, and it's his right arm. So
we even
he's
made
all
a
right.
joke when Padme's like, "Is he all right?" Well, yeah, I cut off his left arm.
Exactly, he's
and
all
so
right.
he's all right.
But I mean, and I'm sure it's partially Obi-Wan just being like, I don't want to kill my friend.
He
even
made
though
a
it
look
is
of
more
disgust
fucked
and
up.
walked away.
But I think it's a mixture of a lot of things. I think of like, I don't want to kill my friend. Sure,
Yeah.
The Jedi Code says I can't just kill this man.
Bullshit. Because
But also,
sorry, go ahead.
well, Mace Windu was about to break the Jedi Code.
Exactly. But I think the
So-
Jedi Code is flexible in the sense of like, this is good for the galaxy. And you're good. Leaving him for dead and killing him now aren't any different at all.
And a line we missed during this fight when Anakin says, if you're not with me, you're against me. And Obi-Wan says only Sith deal in absolutes, which, as you pointed out, is an absolute.
Yeah, so put
this
that
would
sword in
also
yourself.
be following that Jedi Code of like, well, I can't kill him. That's also an absolute.
Yeah.
But I think it's those two things mixed with like kind of a he deserves this, but I can hide it behind my Jedi
I think the
Code.
real answer is that Lucas knows that he has to fucking live.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Like, that's the real answer. But
it's a lot less obvious in this than it is at the end of Obi-Wan.
like, dude, he fucking ignites. He catches fire. And Obi-Wan's like, cool, I'm out.
Obi-Wan watches him burn and then momentarily is like, oh no, I can't watch this, and kind of peeks back. He's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's kind of funny.
Like, dude, it's you. Here's what you do: you force push him into the lava. He gives you a robotic thumbs up as he melts down into the molten goo, and then we're done. We're out of here.
Yeah, and then dun 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 dun.
Hasta la vista, Kenobi.
But I mean, yeah, it all just comes down to he had to stay alive.
He didn't flesh
Enough.
shit out well enough, despite
Yeah.
what he'll fucking tell you when he's smoking a joint in his couch.
No, man, I fucking knew it.
I knew the whole time.
I've had this shit planned since 1961.
Also, do you have any Funyuns?
And real quick to cut back to the Yoda and Palpatine fight.
Yeah, because it's not great.
I just really love though. There's some good moments, but it does not hold up to the fight that's happening concurrently.
We also saw
But my favorite moment, real quick, is when Yoda walks in the room and there's those two
the Royal Guard,
or the
which
Imperial
is supposed
Guard,
to be badass.
and he just walks in and they kind of turn to look at him and he's just like, fuck you guys.
Knocked out.
Just shoves him out of the way. He doesn't
Yeah.
even really, I think he moves one hand a little bit and they both just fly the fuck out of the way.
There's comics of how badass these dudes are.
I mean, they hold their own versus Rey and Kylo Ren.
A
In
little bit
Episode
different.
8.
Those are Praetorian Guard, but very similar.
They're not the same guys? I just
Next
know the red
evolution. Next
hoods.
evolution.
Okay.
They're the next evolution of the Royal Guards go to Praetorian.
Okay.
But still, we've seen him be badass in comics and whatnot. what I was gonna say is like we saw Yoda duel excellently against Christopher Lee, like against Dooku. We don't need it again. I don't think.
No, and I mean honestly, the best part of this fight is when they're on. So they're on this little platform. That's the thing that Palpatine sits on when he's in the Senate.
It's the platform, yeah.
And it starts rising during their battle. While they're on the platform, and while this is all just like cartoon fighting, this little bit of the fight is great because it's these two very skilled fighters fighting each other on a platform that's no more than 10 feet wide.
Yeah.
So it's really cool because it's like Yoda flipping over and doing stuff and I mean, Palpatine's making some moves you wouldn't expect that old man to make.
Uh-huh.
And that's kind of cool. But once they get into the Senate and they're jumping around between the platforms, I mean, I get his concept of like, well, now they can throw these platforms at each other, which is kind of what's mostly what Palpatine is doing.
Uh-huh.
And it's okay, but it's
cutting away from the fight
cut
scene
away
that we
from
want.
a great scene, yeah.
Yep.
And it's exactly how I felt in episode 1 with that. But again, that would have made that fight much shorter. But with the Darth Maul versus Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan.
Just don't cut away from that, man. You've got me hooked.
Yeah,
like,
as soon as the shields close, we cut to other fights.
I'm just about to climax and you want to watch fucking Geraldo.
And I don't know if it comes down to like George trying to edit to music that John Williams is making, or if John Williams is making music to this, because it's
I
like
think
this,
the former, not
this
the latter.
crescent, like this peak of the music, and then it goes dun, and it like cuts away to the much slower scene. It's like slow stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just
He never should have gotten divorced, man. His wife is a phenomenal editor.
Yeah. And you know what? Everybody's had a bad breakup. If she's making your movies that much better, bury some fucking bury an axe, man, or
say you're
whatever.
sorry.
Yeah.
Because George Lucas is not he's not good with people. He'll admit that. He'll be the first one to tell you, man. He's not, and his wife, he's not warm.
Yeah.
He's cold. He's one of his robots. so now the duel's over, yada yada. They get Padme, who is dying from a broken heart, right? And the droid even says, like, we don't get it. Somehow she's lost the will to live.
Yeah, literally the line is, for reasons we can't explain.
Okay,
we're
put that in
losing
your back
her.
pocket. So then they deliver 2 babies and she dies. Now we're watching Anakin get skin grafts and robotic
But
this,
hold
that,
on.
the other.
You missed the moment of, that's Luke.
Oh,
That's
Leia.
Leia. I'm like, what, did you just, like, you and Anakin sat down to pick names, but you like this, since it's a long time ago, you didn't have sonograms, so you don't know if it's a boy or a girl.
We
So
want to
like,
be
okay,
surprised.
If it's a boy, it's Luke. If it's a girl, it's Leia. Oh, it's
It's
both?
both.
Neat.
Cool.
Because she didn't even hesitate. She's like, they're like, here's this one. She's like, a girl? Leia.
So she's dead, right?
Yeah. Sorry.
Now, no, you're fine. I'm trying to make I'm doing work here.
Yeah.
So now we get Anakin being turned into Darth Vader, and we see him do the whole like, "Is Padme okay? I felt her. No, she's dead now. You killed her. No." How would Palpatine know that unless he had something to do with her death? They're in a secret fucking medical facility delivering babies. There is no way he knows that she's dead without him being the one that put some forced juju on her to make her die of sad.
So to play the opposite side here.
Go ahead. To play Deveronian's advocate.
Yes, to play Deveronian's advocate. I think, because these scenes are intercut of her giving birth and dying and him giving surgery. I think at the moment where he's telling him, oh, you killed her, I don't think she's dead yet. I think they took her and that's all he knows. He's just telling Vader, you killed her.
I still think he did it.
I get
what you're
there's
doing.
a moment of Palpatine when he's like, is Padme okay? Palpatine is like, nope, you killed her. She's dead.
Yeah.
Just to
And
get
he's
him, just
smiling
to give him
in the
that
background
last little,
too.
Yeah,
he has got a big old shit-eating grin on his face.
that's that last, like, he's already over the edge, but he's still got that pinky on the cliff, and that's Palpatine just stomping on that pinky, being, and we get like the most pathetic thing I've ever seen in any Star Wars movie of Darth Vader just being like, no.
You had said that's okay for Anakin to do, but you're in this armor. You are all alone now. Anakin is dead. This is Vader. You don't get to be emo boy.
Yeah.
But as it turns out, he's been an emo boy the whole time.
Yeah, but he doesn't act like
He doesn't act it, yeah.
He keeps it inside like a normal human.
Like the rest of us.
Just repress all your emotions.
So
like
now
the
we
rest
get
of us.
fucking Bail Organa, played by Jimmy Smits, who's been in this movie the whole time. We haven't talked about him.
Bail Organa saves Yoda because I want to mention Yoda Die Hard.
Oh yeah,
because during the battle, Yoda drops through like a vent, and we see him literally John McClane crawling.
Yippee fuck mother.
John McClane crawling through these vents, and he drops out like it's kind of like Luke in Cloud City, right?
Oh, very much Bespin. Yeah,
he drops out, and Bail Organa saves him. Jimmy Smits,
and
they fly off together.
Yeah,
but I just had to mention Yoda Die Hard because I couldn't. He's in this little thing, and there's like a light that's not supposed to be there, and all I could think of was John McClane with the little Zippo.
Yeah, but it's so funny how different these kids get. Like, all right, one of them's gonna get raised as a princess of Alderaan. No one's gonna know who she is. The other one's gonna go back to where his dad was with the same fucking name and be raised by his uncle.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Bail Organa is like, we've always wanted to adopt a girl. We'll take the girl because they do agree as a group we should split them up.
But take both
to make them harder to find, I guess, right?
But they don't know they exist. Take both and raise them both to prince and princess.
I think it comes down to maybe their thought is like, okay, well, there's going to be force energy with both of them.
Okay, that's
so
fair.
like if we have them together, it's more concentrated.
So that's one of the reasons that Vader could never find Luke is A, he would never go back there.
No, he doesn't want to go to Tatooine.
He hates sand. And B, there's like a dark force.
Imagine sand getting in that suit.
Oh god, you're never getting that out. But there's kind of a dark force, like I think they call it Nexus. I'm forgetting the verbiage, but like there's a scar because he killed those fucking Tuskens. So there would be a scar there. Same reason. So that's why Yoda picks Dagobah, is because that dark force, dark side cave masks his presence.
Okay.
You couldn't find him there. If you just went and lived on like Corellia, like nothing big is nothing force major has happened there.
Lived on Dave Navarro.
If you lived on Dave Navarro, there is a planet in Navarro.
I know, that's why I can't say Navarro without thinking that. So,
but yeah, so that's you're probably right. Like Leia's force abilities are much more latent, so she's not registering, or no one's looking there.
Yeah. I mean, because 90% of the Jedi we've seen so far have been male, if not more. There's a couple of women that we see that get slaughtered quickly when all the Jedis get slaughtered quickly.
Yeah.
But like, there's not many female Jedi that we've seen at this point. I mean, the cartoon obviously has a lot, and
sure, but
it becomes different later.
You get more woke as you go. Let me ask you this, since we're at the end of the movie, like
not woke in a negative way. I just don't want people to.
No. I'm saying it's like now because I mean the original ones, because women didn't work in the didn't get as much work in the 70s. That's it. That's the reason.
Yeah.
Black people didn't get as much work in the 70s. So that's why there's only Lando Calrissian and that,
Yeah.
But so now we're done, right?
Yeah.
I just want to ask you this real quick. How many Jedi do you think survived Order 66? Because I have a number from Lucas.
I mean, I don't know. So according to the original trilogy, it was 2.
Uh-huh.
Because we have Obi-Wan and Yoda.
Yeah.
Obviously more pop up as we go along. Mandalorian, we meet at least 3 or 4, I want to say.
And then Ahsoka's got some. There's so much Outer Rim stuff.
Maybe like 50?
100.
All right.
Around 100 is what Lucas has said. And I think that just gave him leeway to add more stories.
Yeah.
He never thought about it. He's like, let's just say 100 because that way I can make 100 fucking stories.
Yeah.
Or somebody can, not me.
Squeeze in more people.
Yeah.
Like you can. We want a Jedi that we haven't seen. That's fine, man. We're only at 13.
Yeah. That's why like with Rebels, you have Kanan and Jarrus. It's like, that's fine. Okay. That makes sense.
And then obviously the ones that survived can train new ones, and we can go from there.
Yes, but I don't think they'd be Jedi.
Well, don't they call
which is why they say like that you're the last of the Jedi is what they said to Luke. Even though knowing Ahsoka exists, she's not a Jedi. She left the Order.
Oh God, I always forget. What's that kid's name that's in Rebels and he's in Ahsoka?
Ezra Bridger.
Ezra Bridger. Isn't he's not considered a Jedi?
I guess he would be because he was, he's trained by an unfinished Jedi Knight. Like Kanan Jarrus never got knighted. He escaped Order 66 because of the Bad Batch. He was a Padawan. He still had his braid. So he never finished his training. So technically, if you want to use like dogmatic bullshit titles, no, he's not a Jedi. He's a Force user. He's a light side Force user.
And it makes sense though that there would be at least 100 because like we don't see a shitload of Jedi in these movies. Like we see more than we've seen before.
Yeah.
But this is a spanning galaxy.
Yeah. And Outer Rim and unknown territories and shit like that.
And
like,
they
we
had
know
a
Quinlan
lot
Vos
of kids
survives.
at the temple already.
Uh-huh.
And then, like I said, we see that one Padawan kid who comes out to rescue Bail Organa before he leaves. So, I mean, there are people out there.
We know Grogu survives.
Yeah. And once it kicks off and you start hearing what's going on, then you can go into hiding as Yoda and Obi-Wan did, right? So we end the movie with Vader and Palpatine looking at like the frame of the Death Star, which I'm like, that took you an awful long time to build.
Big fucking thing, dude.
Right, but
you got to build something that's going to be mistaken for a moon later.
Right, but they're starting to build this now, and it's completed 18 years later. But then within 2 years, you build another one, almost.
The second one was being built at the same time, kind of.
Oh, okay.
Congruently, like I think the plan was to have 2 Death Stars, not I have another one in case it gets blown up. It was like, we can have one on this side of the galaxy. And I mean, maybe you just had your plan was to build a bunch of fucking Death Stars, right?
Yeah.
All your planets are fucked now, punk.
Okay. I didn't know that part. So that, and again, that's retconning. That makes things make sense.
Yeah. You got to be a real fucking nerd and go like combing through shit.
And then we have Bail Organa with his wife and Leia. And we don't really see, I guess we see Obi-Wan show up with Luke.
He drops Luke off to Beru and Owen, Lars, and we do get I'm blanking on the fucking name. It's like the rise of the Force, I think is what it's called. It's the song that we get from A New Hope.
Okay.
At the end. It's Luke look at the 2 sons, but now it's the Larses holding Luke looking at these sons.
Okay.
So it's a lot of mirroring. It's George Lucas, like, remember the things I did before?
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I do.
I mean, there's a lot. We didn't mention a lot of them, but there's a lot of throwback lines and references. And
I mean, the
things
reality
like that,
is you've watched this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're not going to fucking beat you over the head with things. We're just trying to talk about things that sparked a little joy or frustration.
Yeah. And we're going all the way through the Star Wars live action saga from beginning to end.
So next is Solo.
Next is Solo.
And then the Obi-Wan series.
Yes.
And then Rogue One.
And then Andor.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And then Rogue One.
Yeah, we got some shit.
And I don't think by the time we finish Andor, it doesn't sound like Andor Season 2 will be out. So we'll keep going forward. And then as new things come out, maybe we'll just jump back.
Yeah.
To cover that.
It'll make it fun for you as the editor.
Well, it'll already be out there in the world. But, you know, when we get because obviously Season 2 of Andor has to take place before Rogue One also. Because Cassian Andor dies.
Because that's how it was. Spoilers. Just kidding.
Hey, spoiler alert, everybody on Rogue One fucking dies.
You mean the original Suicide Squad?
But, yeah, so I think we were doing lightsaber ratings, right? Out of 5 lightsabers?
Yeah.
So where are you going with this one?
It's a 3.5, almost 4. Because it does move quick. There are a lot of things I don't like, mostly Hayden Christensen's acting and delivery.
Yeah.
He's better every movie, but he's still bad in this. Your wife was upset with his lack of his passion he could put into it.
Yeah, I mean, there's lines he's delivering. They're just like, okay,
I'm evil now. Get with it.
Look at me, I'm bad.
Can't stop, won't stop. So yeah, I mean, I do like this. It's the best of the prequels. That's not even arguable.
No, that's not arguable. That's 100% the best of the prequels. Best special effects, best action scenes,
This
best
fucking
acting
fight scene at the end. I could just put this on.
Yeah.
I love the bread of this sandwich.
Well,
where at the beginning, you get that big space battle.
There's got to be a YouTube cut, right, where it just cuts out the
Topher Grace has a super cut of all 3 prequels that is actually amazing.
Yeah.
It's like a 50-minute, 40-minute, 3 movies.
Nice.
And it's great.
All 3 of them in less than an hour?
Yep.
Sounds about right.
Yep.
Here's all the things you need.
Take out what you like, and you're under an hour.
Out of what, over 8 hours worth of
7
movie,
hours. So yeah, I'm gonna go just not quite 4.
Okay, I'm gonna go a little less because I gotta leave room for greatness later.
Yeah,
but it's definitely the best of the prequels. I'll probably 3. I think is where I'm going.
That's fair. I could buy your 3.
And I mean, it's the best special effects mostly. It's the best acting outside of Hayden Christensen. Like, actually, you know what? Natalie Portman, not great. Doesn't have a lot to do.
She's barely here, and when she is, it's just her and Hayden Christensen. Hard to act across from.
She's just being a sad girl the whole movie. Like, she's like, it's basically her being gaslit the whole movie. Because it's him doing evil shit and then coming home being like, I never did evil shit.
Ah, babe, come on. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to kill those younglings. Come on, guy. We can still be lovers.
But like, she's not great. But again, she's barely in it.
Yeah.
But Obi-Wan, Ewan McGregor is on point here.
Top notch.
Ian McDermott is on point, even when he's hamming it up. I think It's the best performances, the best effects, the best fight scene.
Second best music in the
Second
prequels.
best music, yeah.
Yeah, we're on the same page there, dude.
We sample the best music.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to go with 3. I think 3 works.
Yeah, I like it.
So then next month will be Solo, a Star Wars story.
Red Solo movie.
Which I remember really enjoying in the theater, but I've only seen it the one time.
I got things to say about that I'm not going to say now.
Yeah, and I'm sure there are things that aren't great. I mean, that kid, whatever his name is not.
You're not going to grow up to be Harrison Ford.
No, but I thought he was fine. My favorite part, from what I remember, and we'll get there next month, but is Donald Glover.
Oh, not even
As
close,
Lando.
dude. Not
He
even
is
close. That's
channeling Billy D.
That's the best casting since the prequels.
He is literally calling forward the ghost of Billy D, who's not dead.
Not even dead.
Exactly. Billy D woke up and was like, "Did I have a fever dream about being in a movie?"
I'm not convinced it's not Billy D in really good outfits and costumes. But yeah, I actually can't wait to talk about that.
Yeah, I'm excited to get past the prequels into where things get. We have the more modern stuff. I mean, we're going from newest to oldest in the next couple of months.
Yeah, we're gonna see some change.
Yeah. We have so much to do before we get to the original trilogy, though, because Andor is 16 episodes.
Yeah,
I think we might do the shows.
We
we're
might do
talking
2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be better.
Yeah, so that'll be 3 episodes of Obi-Wan, but that's still 8 episodes of Andor.
Yeah, true.
So we got a long ways to go, but we'll get there. This is fun.
Yeah, thanks for joining us for this, guys.
Yes, thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to check out our other podcast, Bad Movies, Worst People. You can find it anywhere you get podcasts and badmoviesworstpeople.com. We get drunk with our other host, my wife, Whitney, and then various co-hosts.
Mm-hmm.
And we talk about shitty movies, mostly that we love, but also some that make us want to kill ourselves.
Yeah, that's true.
And remember, we have a Patreon for that. Patreon.com/worstpeople, which is important to you as a listener of this, because you can get these episodes earlier and in full, because these will be, since they're longer episodes, we're going to be splitting these up, I think.
Yeah, it
is
makes
how
sense.
it's going to
Makes
work
sense.
for the main feed. But if you have our Patreon, you get them the month before and in full all at once. It's only $3 a month, so you can do that. Patreon.com/worstpeople. We have to thank our friend Magilla Gorilla for our opening and closing music. And I think that's it. You can find us on social media, Han Took Shots First Pod, all the social medias. So that'll be it for this month, or this episode, whatever we're doing.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're figuring this out. I've been Derek.
I'm Jack.
Good night.
And do it.